Welcome to Kranky Live Sports Talk, where passion meets action.
Hey sports fans, I am Kranky, and this is the Kranky Live Sports Talk, the podcast where we dive deep into the hottest topics, the biggest games, and the most controversial moments in sports.
Whether it's football, basketball, track and field, cricket, or soccer, we've got you covered with expert analysis, insider interviews, and unfiltered opinions.
Join me as I chat with the biggest names in sports, get exclusive insights and stories you won't hear anywhere else.
Kranky Live Sports Talk is where you can hear the real talk, the hard-hitting questions, and the hottest takes.
So, if you're a true sports fanatic, you don't want to miss out? Subscribe now to the Kranky Live Sports Talk on YouTube and hit that bell icon to never miss an episode.
Kranky Live Sports Talk, where sports come alive. Subscribe today.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening, and welcome to Kranky Live Sports Talk. For everything sports, you know it goes when you come in. You just hit that like bell. Bless up, Paul. Bless up, Drew Ross. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you being here. As you come in, just hit that button and make the likes them even up to those who are in the chat. I have a couple topics today to talk about. You know, I hadn't planned to do any shows for the rest of the week, actually. Tuesday's show was an interesting show. I got clips that came into me subsequent to the show. People cut out certain things. I'm not sure why people do these things, you know. I have no idea what the agenda is, but anyway, I did get them and I wasn't totally happy. So I wasn't going to do a show, but I was having a discussion today. Bless up, Jeremiah. Bless up, Emerson. Thanks for joining. I was having a dialogue with someone today about football and about the JFF. And the topic came up as to the relationship between JFF and fans. So that's why I have that in the thumbnail. We'll have a very in-depth conversation today to talk about that. And then what we'll also do is we'll talk about, well, before we go into that JFF discussion, because I want to have some more levity type discussion before we go into that, because that's a much more, as I say, in-depth discussion, challenging discussion. So let's talk about EPL transfers, all the teams, what look good, what doesn't look good. You can provide in your 2 cents, and I can provide my 5 cents. Since I have the mic, I have a chance to talk more. But I'm going to go through the numbers, inclusive of key players who come in, number of in and outs for different teams, and money spent, both gross and net. And I think this transfer window has been interesting because it was affected by the Euros, and it was also affected by Copa. So it's almost like people were late to the scene, and then people are really trying to assess, which they probably should have done a while ago, their financial situation. Because as you know, we do have FFP, the whole concept of financial fair play, to make sure you don't spend way more than you make. I think the number is 70 million over a 3-year period. It should be losing. So some of these numbers look really interesting. One number I looked at, I just thought, man, you can't be that good and that well financially. That doesn't look that good, actually. Well, it looks good for the club, but I thought it's just very challenging and interesting for those who hope to replace Man City. I'll say that. For those who hope to replace. So let's get into the discussion. So if we look at Arsenal, for example, and I want to go through every transfers, but I'm not sure people realize how many people come in and go from different clubs. So Arsenal had about between 37 and 47 transactions this year. You only hear about the big ones, right? You hear about the Calafiori coming in. You hear about Raya, who was on loan, being acquired. You hear about Mitchell Marino, who came in very late in the window and took his medical this week. But you don't hear about a ton of other kids who are probably in the academy and got released, like a Taylor Hart, who we used to talk about for a while ago, Jules John, who you hear was up and coming, but you haven't heard from them. just a lot of people, or the El Nenis who go out and release, or Suarez. There's just so many. So I counted between 37 and 47. The reason between 30 and 47 is because of the timing. So, for example, Nketiah's deal wasn't done. Ramsdale deal wasn't done. So how do you sort of figure out what the net number is? Bless up Michael Roberts. Bless up Carlton Lovelace, or the man. So it's really interesting, actually. And Arsenal spend their income they generate this year so far was 31.8. If you add in the Ramsdale 18, the Nketiah 25, which aren't done yet, and some of those have incentives to them, it may come up to about 74, 75 million. They already spent 108.9 million between Raya, Merino, Calafiori. So they're on a net basis, they're overspent by 77 mil. Now, if they take out the 43 from the 77, it's just over 30, right? And you'd hope that they've made enough money. Because these are just about transfers. This is not what they've made from all their commercial activity. This is just net transfer activity, which you then have to marry against whatever revenues you generate and expenses you incur to come up with your net loss or gain number, or net loss or net income number. Right? So Arsenal, on a net basis, is 77 in the hole. At the end here, they may go down to 33, or it may go up, because I know they've been looking at Nico Williams, and I heard I got some information yesterday saying Nunez was at Arsenal, and then subsequent this morning I saw Robbie mentioning that actually Nunez' agent was I think talking to Arsenal actually, because he's not getting any game at Liverpool. So we know how that goes. When you don't get in the game, you're not happy, right? So he was I think he's been talking to Edu, it appears. And then we had obviously Calafiori came in, Merino came in. So good luck for Arsenal. And we are going to go out, send out Ramsdale, and Nketiah went out, Smith Rowe went out. And it's interesting that, when you sell the academy players, so for example, when you bring in Calafiori, and when you bring in David Raya and Merino, their numbers get reduced from a profit and loss standpoint. So here's the number would work. Smith Rowe is an academy product, 25 million, right, go to the top line, it's revenues. And Nketiah is 25 million, right to the top line, it's revenues. Ramsdale would be different because Ramsdale would have been bought for a certain amount, so that's marrying up against what he's being sold for. So that made it to zero, frankly, because he got to wipe his assets off the book. I think we bought him for about 30, he's here for 4 years, so maybe a little bit of profit, not profit, but a net number on him. Bless up Ikaritz. Smith Rowe's 25, and Nketiah's 25. Smith Rowe's about 27. That's 50-something million going against the expenses. If you have Calafiori is 40-something and he probably has a 5-year contract, that's only 8 of that million goes against the revenue number. David Raya, if he has a 3 or 4 year and he's about 30 million, it's at about 10 go against it. Merino, similar things. 4, 5, 8. Best up Tom Stranger. So that's why you can marry up the expense and revenue numbers to come to a good place, because they're not one for one, given that Smith Rowe didn't cost anything and Nketiah didn't cost anything. So that's interesting. We also sent out, so it's about 47 transactions. I noticed Vieira is on loan. Amaria Kozer Dewberry left to go to Brighton. So there's a lot of transactions that occur which we're not aware of. And we think everybody in football make money. Most of the big contracts. Some of them are making no portion. Some of these people got released. Now got to go find a club. You're not going to make 100,000 and 200,000. We think everybody does. Let's say there were 47 transactions, and we only hear of, and the ins and out, only 4 of those were ins that came in. Most of the others were people being released, loaned out, or sold. All right? I think we had about 30-something out and about 4 comes in. So the numbers sort of change a little bit in terms of ins and out. For Aston Villa, they had over 30 transactions also. The names you hear about going out was Musa Diaby and Douglas Luiz, big numbers, 66 plus and 55. And then you had Onana coming in and Matza coming in from Chelsea and Ross Barkley, who didn't cost anything, and Cameron Archer, who cost some money. So they spent 176 million pounds. They had income of 145. So their net spend was 31. So a lot of people think that Aston Villa spent a ton of money, didn't recoup any money, but that's not true. Their net spend was only 31 million. And even when you match it up on what they call the income statement, they may be in a better position from a revenue and expense standpoint, right? It depends on how long Diaby's contract was and how long Douglas Louis' contract was. I think Douglas Louis was coming closer to the end of his contract. I'm not sure they had re-signed him when we tried to pursue him. So Villa, who looked really out of whack at one point, are not in the worst shape. And then we have Bournemouth. Not much to say about Bournemouth. They spent 104, which I was surprised about. And they brought in 66, which nets out to about 38 in terms of net. I want to call it net loss from transfers. I put it that way, not the right way to coin the phrase. And they brought in Luis Sinistera from Leeds. They brought in Julian Arroyo from coming in, and they brought Ivan Nilsson, who is a big four they brought in to replace the Solanke, and then Kepa is there on loan. Solanke went out. Lloyd Kelly went out. Free transfer that went to Newcastle. And Jamal, and I'm going to see the Jamaican players over here. Jamal Lowe also was released to go find another club. He was at Bournemouth. So Bournemouth net number is negative 38. Very similar to Aston Villa. Breast of Chorus, thanks for joining. I'm just going through this quickly, people, because the main part of the discussion today is going to be about JFF. I know someone don't care about no Premier League, and so they can't get the information someplace else. We're talking of JFF thing. And someone not beat me when we're done, but I don't really care. Someone don't really care about the beating sticks. We have to find a way to have some good discussion about the JFF, given where they are, where they're supposed to be going. For Brentford, they took in 32 million. They expensed 92 million. They had a net loss of, say, 60 million. They brought in Igor Thiago from Club Brugge, and Carvalho came in, who was at Liverpool, who went from Fulham to Liverpool. Didn't work out to him, but he still went for 27 million pounds. Not sure how some of these things compare now. Carvalho going to the same money as Smith Rowe, even though he doesn't have the same pedigree. I always think Arsenal does a poor job of selling their talent, actually. Carvalho going for more than any Nketiah. That doesn't make any sense. He doesn't have any pedigree in the Premier League to warrant that. So that's kind of strange. Brighton is people. Brighton. When I saw the Brighton number, and by the way, for Brentford, David Raya obviously came to Arsenal. He was on loan to us last year, and then Ivan Toney's in limbo. He has choices. Well, there's something on the table for him to go to Saudi Arabia, but people want to stay home, right? They want to go to the Middle East. So we'll see what happened with Ivan Toney, but he's had a lot of discussion with a lot of different teams, whether it's Man U or Arsenal, a bunch of other teams, or Chelsea, but I'm not sure people don't want to pull the trigger on Ivan Toney. That's an interesting one to the people. Not sure why there's a reluctance to pull the lever on Ivan Toney. Really a weird one. I think he's a good forward, good link-up player, can shoot with both feet. So I don't understand why he doesn't have a club chasing him. I know he wants a lot of money, but so does everybody else. He probably wants a couple $100,000 a week, similar to Osimhen. And Napoli wanted 120. Was it 120? Was the buyout clause for Osimhen? They'd be glad if they can get 50. So this window has been tough. You don't hear any 100 million purchase this window, do you? None. All you're hearing is the 50s and the 60s. That's for the big ones. Once in a while, you may see the Alvarez who went to Atletico Madrid, but otherwise, you're not seeing that. That's not happening. So it's really interesting time. For Brighton, they spent, so they took in 34 million. Now, Brighton is one team run by Bloom, who's made his money through gambling, right? They have spent a lot of money. They took in 34 million. They have spent today, and this is my last count, 231 mil, which made them a deficit of 196 mil. But what you say about them is that what they have spent, that's going to be amortized over a 5-year period. So say against their expenses, going to be about, say 5 years. So 40-something mil a year against the expenses, won't be the 196. But they have so much money in the bank, because last year they made, over 200 mil, I think it was. Like net, you saw their financial statements. They were so much in the black that they don't have money concern. That's probably why they're spending so much. Right? And they're buying young too. They have a Chelsea strategy, except there's a more method to the madness. They buy young, sell them on for a few years when they really are showing their potential, and then they reinvest the money. And by the way, they probably have 2 or 3 managers lined up if this one doesn't work out. And they probably have 5 or 6 or 7. How much transaction they had? They had like 28. So they probably have, I think they had about 19 people went out and 9 came in. Because the ins are normally much less than the outs, actually. Because outs are going to include a lot of academy players. So they brought in Minte from Newcastle. O'Reilly came in from Scotland, but got his foot, looked like it was broken. He had to have surgery. He played the other day, first 10 minutes of the game. And Kadioglu, who's coming from Turkey, they bought, was a fullback. And then they let go a few people. Adam Lallana went out. Pascal Gross went to Germany, where he's from. And they had a few more loans. But their ins, they spent a lot of money for the ins. Minte was 30-something million. I think Riley was 20-something. They spent a lot of money. Ruther was 40 million, who came from Leeds. Bless up Fitzroy, Grizzle. They spent a lot of money, people. A lot of money. 231 million. I think Aston Villa spent a lot, which was 176, but they have outspent everybody in this window in terms of gross spend. Net spend 196 is still a big number. Now we come to Chelsea, and there's only one Chelsea. But here's what people don't realize with Chelsea. Chelsea spent 261 mil, which is a lot, but they took in 175 million. So their net spend was a negative 86. And I'm sure they probably make it up through their commercial revenues to net it out. And they give long-term contracts. So that 261, if you have 8-year contracts, it's probably 35 million go against each year in terms of what your financial statements are. Now, we're going to catch up to them at some point. But if they keep on making more money and if the team gets good, it may not matter. Because my understanding, if you're in the Champions League this year, you're going to take them about 100 million for the teams in the Champions League. So if they get to where they want to get to, which is the Champions League, they can make that money back and fix any financial problems they may have. Now, Chelsea had between about, I counted 33, but the last check I saw was like 40-something transactions. That's in and outs, loans, releases, purchases. They had 11 people coming in, Neto, Juzberreal, the kid from Fulham, Yao Felix, Goey from Barcelona. And they had a ton going out. They had 20-something going out, and they have about 14 who are now parked someplace like a bus, including Sterling and Chilwell, who may not go anywhere. The man just told me to go find team. We have no idea how it's going to work. But they have people go out, like Silva went out, Ziyech went out, Gallagher went out, Lukaku went out. Amari Hutchinson was one of the people who were there. Kepa went out. There's a lot of people. He and Matson went out. So when people go out for Chelsea, it's quality going out, Even Thiago Silva, who they got no money for, and Ziyech, for example, were released. They bought Ziyech for 30-something mil, right? Gallagher went for 30-something mil. They bought Ziyech for 30-something mil, got rid of him for nothing. Gallagher was 30-something mil. Lukaku is probably in the 20s, right? So Matson was, 30-something or 40 mil? So Omari Hutchins was about 20 mil. So they got money in. And they got quality that goes out. So they have a lot of quality across their squad, and I expect them to do well this year, actually. Contrary to what a lot of people think. Crystal Palace haven't done a ton of business. They got rid of Anderson, who went to Fulham. Olise went to Bayern. Jordan Ayew, I think, they go to Leicester. So they spent 30 mil. They took in 88 mil. So they have a net positive of 58.8 mil, which is not bad, actually, for them. But they need to spend some money. They bought in Riyadh, they bought in Sarr, they bought in Kamara. They need to spend some money. People, we're going to talk about that today, actually. We'll talk about that. After I finish going through this quickly, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the England squad and the fact that, so I should stop there for a little bit and say this. Lee Carsley, who runs the youth team, is going to cap everybody. Let me say this again. So if you're in the JFF or your agents, however you are for Jamaica, trying to get players to come in, I suggest you get off you know what and go do some work, because he's capping everybody. He's capping Lewis. He's capping Gomez, who hasn't played in England for a while. He's capping Gibbs-White. So we'll get into that discussion. We should do that before I jump into the JFF, because it's important. And I was having some conversation with somebody about it today. He's capping everybody because there's a war for talent, and people don't seem to realize that. Everton is in trouble. They got in 83 million. They spent 50. Jack Harris is the only person of note they brought in. Andre Gomez, who came from Barcelona, was released. Anana went for 50 million. Bet Godfrey went for a little money. And Bet Godfrey is one person, supposedly, who we're pursuing because he has Jamaican roots. Fulham spent 91 million, took in 51 million, net negative 40. Smith Rowe went there for 20-something. Anderson went there about for close to 40 from, but it wasn't 40, it was 30-something from Crystal Palace. They brought in Sanderberg also, who's a good player. Tim Reen was released. Ryan Session was released. And so was Paulina, who was sold for a bunch of money. Ambrosia was loaned there, is now back to Chelsea, and I think somebody's trying to buy him. Is it Ipswich or a team trying to buy him? I forgot which team that is. But Brosia has been bouncing around. I'm not sure why. Ipswich spent 126 mil. Here's what happened, people. Sometimes you come up, like a Nottingham Forest, you spend a lot of money, and they got lucky and stayed up. But I'm not sure what the quality they're buying for them to spend so much money to stay up. They only took in 1.65 million, and they spent 126 million. So the net deficit is 125 million. Now they're gonna get the payment from the EPL, which is about 120-something million. But where else are they making money to cover up the expenses? So they may be in trouble already, frankly. They may be in trouble. I don't know how they're gonna cover up the expenses. They don't have the Man U, the Arsenal, even the Brighton's deep pocket. So Siobhan Brown is saying, I actually think sometimes the fans are harsh on something they get bashing for something they don't deserve. Sometimes people hate JFF for no reason. We're gonna have a lot of JFF discussion. Hold those comments, Siobhan Brown. We're gonna have a lot of JFF discussion tonight. You know, me will get enough beaten tonight about JFF, but I don't really care. But we have a lot of discussion about JFF tonight. So hold that for me. Let's go through this, then I'll touch upon the England squad. And then what I'll do is we'll jump to JFF discussion. Let me go through this quickly. Liverpool. So here's the interesting teams now, people. Liverpool. You know what? Must say Liverpool, Man City for last. I'm going to do that thing first. Let me come back to Liverpool and Man City. And Man U, by the way. So for Newcastle, they spent 68 mil. That income of 76 mil. Net them 8. They were trying to buy Gui for about 65 mil. That didn't work out, which would increase their expenses. Like Kelly came in from Bournemouth, who had Jamaican roots, but he's not going to play for Jamaica. He went free from Bournemouth to Newcastle. They also brought in a few more people like Lewis Hall, who was probably there last year on loan, and then John Ruddy came in. They got rid of Elliot Anderson. They got rid of Minty, who I think they got about 30-something mil from Brighton for, and they reduced people like Matt Ritchie, actually. So their net number was 8 positive from an income standpoint. Bless up Shushan, thanks for joining. Nottingham Forest spent 33 transaction. By the way, Newcastle had about 16. They took an income of 89.3, expense of 96, so only negative 7.2 for Nottingham Forest, who got penalized last year with some points because they overspent. I think they got lucky this year because I think the Brendan Johnson transaction, where they got 40 plus mil from Tottenham, hit this year. It didn't hit last year, therefore they got in trouble because they thought it would hit last year. So their net spend is negative 7.2 million, so they're in a good place. They didn't bring in a lot of players, apart from Nikola Minkalovic, but Koya to get released, Wayne Hennessy got released, Oriki went back, Nuno Tavares from Arsenal went back, Gio Reyna. So those people they had on loans, a lot of them, just went back to their old clubs. Yeah, Don, there's a reason for that, Don. You hear what he says? He says more people going to get caps. I'm going to come back to that. It's important we talk about that for a little while, people. Southampton spent 95 mil. These teams that come up and they're trying to spend to stay up, but it doesn't work. They had like 36 transactions. You know, they release a lot of people who they think can make it in Premier League or academy players. So they had about 36 transactions. 19 people came in, which is always a lot. 16 go out. Nobody out that have any name. Coming in was Lallana and Ben Burton Diaz, and Cameron Archer, who is Jamaican heritage. We should pursue, by the way. Boss Thomas, I haven't looked at the Champions League draw yet. I was too busy doing some other stuff today. But I did realize that it's different from what it was before. Right? But I'll do that for next show on Monday, actually, because I didn't spend a lot of time on it. But I do know that Arsenal, but I saw the team that we're going to be playing. We have a good draw versus Liverpool, for example. But it's not. They changed it up from last year, actually. But I'll go through that maybe on Monday. I ain't going to touch that today. Tottenham spent 148 mil. I don't even see the players that Tottenham bought for that much. They got 50 million in income. So they got Warner in for free on loan. Solanke cost 60 something mil. I think Gray cost 20 something mil. Archie Gray came from the championship. They sent out Brian Gill, Oliver Skip, Hoiberg, and Dumbelly, who they bought was their highest purchase for 6 something mil. He just was a fail. Sessegnon and Emerson Royal. So they got some money in, about 50. So they sent out, I'm calling names which are prominent, like 5 prominent names. They brought in like 2, and yet they spend 1. Well, they brought in more than 2, but they have 148, which makes no sense. I don't see how they 148 hang up. Add up to 148. I gotta go check and see where this come from because I didn't see them spending 148, but they did spend it. West Ham spent a lot of money, people, and bought a lot of quality. So they got rid of a couple of players, Ben Rama and Kira, who came in previous to last year, didn't stay that long. They brought in Wan-Bissaka. They brought in Max Kilman from Wolves, Bissaka from Man U. They brought in Nicholas Fulkrug, who played very well for Germany. Guido Rodriguez. They spent 144 mil. They had about 21 transactions. 44 income, 144. They have a negative 99 mil. Now, I'm not sure where West Ham get all these commercial revenues to marry off that number. Obviously, you got to amortize the 144, so it's not as terrible as it may look. And they have deep pockets, but your pockets has to be from the revenue you generate, not because your owner is rich. Wolves are an interesting one. So Wolves had 14 transactions. They had 107 million in income. So they have people like Max Killman, who they sold, and Pedro Neto. And they took in and they spent 69 million. Sorry, they spent 38 million. Bless up Tony. So their net number is about 70 million. So Wolves, they have to make sure they were struggling with FFP. So they may be in a better place now. So let me go to the last 2 or last 3, which is Man U, Liverpool, and Man City. I'm going to go Man U first. I think Liverpool is interesting. Man U had about 20-something transaction, including releasing players like Anthony Martial, selling Greenwood, selling Wan-Bissaka, Danny van der Beek, who came over from Holland, never worked out. So they took in 72 million, but they spent 164, and that doesn't include what's the name, Ugarte, who coming in from PSV. So they took in Zerki, Lenny Euro, Delit, Mazraoui, whatever his name is from Bayern Munich. I'm always butchering his name. So they bought some quality players, but they spent a lot of money. So Man U had a negative net spend of minus 92 million pounds, and it would only go up when they bring in the kid from PSG actually, not PSV. Now for Liverpool, they had a total of 17 transactions in and out, right? They made one acquisition to date, which is Chiesa, which just happened, who they bought for on the cheap for less than 15 million euros. They did have some outs. The income was 47. They spent about 42. They might ask me what they spent it on. Probably bought some of the more academy players. And then, because one purchase of note, I should say, probably had more ins, but one purchase of note. Joel Matip was released. Thiago was released. They sold Carvalho to Brent for 27 mil. So they had a net 5 in terms of income. And so here's last but not least, people. Yeah, they didn't make the money off Greenwood that what they made Warren was all profit, right? They sold him for 27 plus 50% sell-on clause. It's all profit. And he's gonna make them back their money too. Some point somebody's gonna realize the kid is ridiculously good and they'll just move on. So this is Man City. Total of 14 transactions. They had one purchase. That's all I saw in their thing was one purchase. They bought Savino, right? For 25 million. They generated 141 million in income, which net out to 116 in net profit from their transfers. And they're the team that has been beaten forever in the Premier League and won so much titles. And right now, all the investment they make is now making them money. And this is just for transfers. Now, they have high salaries on their books, but I'm sure their commercial revenues cover this out. Right? Their outs include, Sergio Gomez, Julian Alvarez to Atletico for a lot of money. Cancelo went to Saudi for a lot of money. Lilian Delap Calvin Phillips out on loan. So they've made a lot of money, which is reflective here. So that was a transfer thing I want to talk about in terms of who coming in, who going out, and money spent by teams. At some point, I do want to have a session where I walk through the financial statements and try to break it down very simplistically for people to talk through, the whole FFP thing and how FFP works and how you can, some people say you cook the books, but it's not cook the books. It's what the accounting profession allows you to do, where you can give somebody a 10-year contract and pay $100 million for them and only 10 million count against your numbers for the year. And you can sell somebody for 25 million, like a Smith Rowe, and it's all profit. And so the net for the year, you'd make a profit of 50 million versus losing 25 from 90, which is 75. Well, Arsenal net spend, Tony, doesn't include Nketiah and Ramsdale. So when I pull this up, we had brought in income of 31.8 mil, an expense of 108. So net spend was 77. But for that 77, you take off Nketiah's 25 and Ramsdale 18, which is about 43, you reduce the number to about 34. Now, if we go out and get Coleman or buy somebody else like a Tony or Usman, that number then goes more significantly. But then that person will get a long-term contract, and the number they get will be much less to match against the revenues that we generate. No, Dr. Don, it's not Arthur Anderson's situation. Arthur Anderson did illegal things with Enron. That's not what this is. This is different. This is doing things the right way based on what accounting rules allow you to do. This is not cooking the books. I don't agree with that. Chelsea was taking advantage of situation. And that's why the leagues have changed some of those rules. So Chelsea will give people a 10-year contract to amortize the thing over 10 years. So if it's 90 million, then they only get charged 9 each year. I think the rules have changed to about 5 years now. So it would be 5 into 90 versus 10 into 90. That's what it is. You still have a 9 or 10-year contract. Chelsea was doing that to get around some of these things. It's like pushing something off to later years. At some point, it catch up with you. But you do it with the view that, my revenue is going to continue to increase, so I can then marry off my expense against those revenues. So if your commercial revenues keep going up every year, and your other expenses stay flat, and you have these expenses that come over from year over year, you're still in a good position, actually. Not a bad place to be in. Not a bad place to be in, people. So let's transition. England did name their squad today. I had it here on my phone. And I found the squad interesting. Lee Carsley is doing what Lee Carsley should be doing, actually, which is realizing there's a war for talent. And as such, I'm going to call in the players who I want to make sure they play for England, right? And especially if they have heritage from someplace else, I'm definitely calling them in. So these are the goalkeepers actually in the team. Yeah, no, Chelsea's not in a bad place we think they are, actually. In terms of transfer, Warren, in terms of top 6, who I think going to finish top 6 in the Premier League, clarify for me, please. Top 6 for the Premier League or top 6 in terms of transfer window? And that's how you got to wait until transfers are done tomorrow night to figure out who finished where in the transfer. Because there's always some last minute deal that just upsets everything. But the goalkeepers, Ramsdale is not in the goalkeeping here in the Prem. Oh, top 6 Prem. Okay. Well, I gave my top 4. I didn't go top 6. So my top 4, just do this quickly, is Arsenal or Man City. Arsenal if we buy a 9. Man City if we don't. So I have Arsenal, Man City, because I'm hoping to get a 9, or get Kingsley Coleman, get Usman, Arteta. We can afford him. We get a 9, we'll beat City. If we don't get a 9, we're going to struggle to beat them. Liverpool 3rd, Chelsea 4th. That's my top 4. The remaining 6, I haven't gotten there yet. But I would expect Man U to be in the numbers. I expect West Ham to be up there. I expect Villa to be there. In fact, I'm going to pick Villa to finish 5th. And maybe Man U 6th, actually. But I think Man U going to be better than people think they are. They weren't bad against Brighton. They just got unfortunate with Zersky scoring that offside goal, and it would be over the line, and then Brighton would struggle to catch up. Defenders, people. Why? There's a certain theme to the defenders here, isn't it? You look at this list. So Rico Lewis make it. I wonder, not saying Rico's not a good player, but Lee Carswell know them and he's capping them. No, we haven't discussed Sterling to Arsenal, Tony. I didn't want to make it too much of an Arsenal thing. People beat me for that. But we haven't talked about Sterling to Arsenal. I would love if he goes to Arsenal. I think he's better than Martinelli. I think Martinelli is out of form, not playing well, poor decision making. His decision making wasn't good anyway. It reminds me of Cephas for Jamaica. So I don't know how that works or we do, but his wages are a killer. 300,000+ is a killer. So this is England defense. They have about 7 here. I'm surprised Livramento is here, even though he replaced Tripper at Chelsea. I thought it was interesting. And I don't see Trent Alexander-Arnold here. Well, he's on the right or left back, actually, so I shouldn't say that. I don't know why Livramento is being deemed to be here. That's interesting. I don't know why Trent is not here. What caused they say Trent is a right back, so I'm not sure why they have him in the midfield. Spurs not in my top 6. You know, Warren, maybe I need to go back and revisit it because you're probably right. I have Villa as 5. That's not changing. It's between Spurs, Man U, Newcastle for the 6th slot. Am I missing somebody? West Ham. So let me come back on that one. But Villa is 5th though. I don't think Villa will struggle. Probably should have beat us last week, actually. They have a good team, and we struggle with them. Emery's a very good coach. So we have Goey, who look like he's not going to Newcastle, even though Steve Parish is something else, boy. 65 million, he said no. When we wanted Zaha, he wanted all the cash up front because he didn't want to release Zaha to us. And we go, bless up Eagle Republic, went and buy Pepe, and that didn't work out too well, did it? Pepe turned out to be, I don't think Pepe was a bust, but that didn't work out too well. Colwell was playing for Chelsea, Goey, Crystal Palace, Conserva, Villa, Rico Lewis, who I think is a very good footballer, from City, Livramento from Newcastle, Maguire is back in. He was injured for the Euros, and then John Stones. So that's the defense. So Rico Lewis is getting a cap, people. And that's what Carswell's going to do. He's going to cap all of these people who could play for another country. Yeah, no, I think both parties have to give in. So he may have to give us some money, but Chelsea will have to subsidize it. We should take him, Tony. If he want to come to Arsenal, we should take him. I know he's been talking to Man U. I think he wants to stay in London because he's from London, isn't he? Even though he spent a lot of time in Liverpool and at City. Who wants to live in Manchester and Liverpool? But anyway, that's just me. So then we go here. So yeah, Livramento and Rico Lewis are getting caps, people. All these kids who play in the under 19, under 17, under 20, this interim coach knows them really well. Knows them really, really well, people. So don't be surprised. And he said more people are going to be getting caps. He's capping them. Go you over 21, you get capped. That's it. You're one and done. And these kids, here's the one we missed out on. So Alexander-Arnold is in midfield. I think he have him in defense. I'm not sure we have him in midfield here. Gallagher, who is now at Atletico Madrid. Gibbs White, who we were lusting after. And not where your mind is thinking, but in terms of him playing for us. Gibbs White. Very good footballer. Playing really well for Nottingham Forest. Has scored already this season. Angel Gomez was at Man U and went to League One. And now doing well is being called in because they all play under Lee Carswell, so don't be surprised. Obviously, Maino and Palmer and Rice are there. That'll be expected. I think that the midfield is a little bit weak to me, actually. But Gibbs White, I think, is going to be in this team for a while because I think he's better than all the other midfielders apart from maybe Palmer, frankly. He's a different player than Rice. He's going to be a good 8. And he can play 8, 10, either wing. He's a really good footballer. So it's a miss out for Jamaica. He will agree to a pay cut, Brandon, because he want to play football. His wages are not digestible. I'll put it that way. If you're making $325, if Chelsea say we got to get rid of you, and you say you're not going anywhere, and they say, you know what, we're going to keep you in the playing with the reserves, or you come train by yourself, I'm training with the kids, and you're a big time footballer, you're going to say, I want to play football. They'll say, okay, you want to play football? You got to take a wage cut. We send you to another team. You go talk to Arsenal. Arsenal say, we can't afford to pay more than 100,000 in wages. So 225 is now left. You may split the difference with Chelsea. You know what? I'll take 225 is left. I'll take 112, 500, and you forgive 112, 500, right? I will forego 112, 500. You pay me 112, 500. That might be how they work it out. But nobody's going to pay that 300,000. Now, if you had switched with Sancho, with Manu, that may have worked out. But I think Man U just want to get rid of Sancho, and they don't want to take on that big wage anyway. Most teams are not trying to apart from Man City probably, most teams are trying to stay under the $300,000 wage limit. There are very few teams paying over that, apart from maybe Man City. Man U probably do so for Rashford and a few more players, but even they are trying to cut that down. The midfield is what they expect on the wing with Boeing, Foden, blah, blah. Let's go through this. Madueke is now in the team. You know why Madueke is in the team? It's not because he scored 3 goals. It's because the coach knows him. He's plays for the under-21. They won a championship. He knows him. That's why in it. Don't ask me why Jack Grealish is in the team. Maybe because he drinks a lot. I don't know why Grealish is in the team. I think that's ridiculous, actually. Grealish should be in the team. And Ollie Watkins is there. Obviously, Kane is there. Tony doesn't have a team. He's not playing any football. So if you're not playing football, you don't get picked, which is what is obvious here. So who are we missing? We're missing Madison. We're missing Tony. Trippier retired. No, James is here, even though I think James is back fit, but I think he I think he injured himself actually in preseason, but he had a 4-game match ban, I think. So he still had to sit out 2 more games. Who else is missing? It's mainly the people who all these people went to Euro. Palmer went to Euro, Mano went to Euro, Rice went to Euro. Gibbs White is new in the team. Interesting. Yes, Tony, and people were beating me about that, Tony. Weren't they, Tony? Didn't I say that I would take him and people were beating me? And Tony, didn't I say that? And people were like, no, they wouldn't have him. I don't know why they wouldn't. I watch a kid play. He's a good player. Grealish may be playing beside the coach, actually, because Grealish has been a bust at Man City. People make some excuse for Grealish is ridiculous. He's overrated. I've always said that. He's an overrated. So Lee Carsley is making sure he caps the players who have dual nationality or maybe just be English, but they can play for other teams. Huh? He's making sure he capped those players, people. And so if you are any country who's trying to pursue any English-born players in your team, you think you have the quality, I suggest you do so when they're under 19 and under 18, not when they reach the Premier League. You can see potential. You can see quality. So here's some players Jamaica should pursue. And here's another thing, people. I've been beating this drum for a while. Hey, me know me I talk about it in the start. Oh no, beat me if I said that about milk here. Me like say that. The kid from Southampton. Why is his name? Why am I having this moment now? His name will come to me. Lee Carter mentioned him today that he and someone has received the ball well. Someone remind me. He plays right back for Southampton. I'm not sure why his name is just slipping me. And I heard he's a Jamaican national. We've been talking about him for a while. We should go pursue him. I think he can play the A2. Somebody please just remind me of his name. But I've been saying that Jamaica should pursue him for the longest. He was at Tottenham. Kyle Walker-Peters. Yes, thanks, Jeremiah. Lee Carter was talking about how he receives the ball well. I've watched the kid play. He's really not a right back, I don't think he plays at a right back because he's not the best defender, but he's very good on the ball. I think he can play right back for us or play the 8 for us. Bless up Tripoli. I'm not sure why we're not pursuing him. Doesn't make any sense to me. I hear we talk about all the players we're pursuing. He's somebody we can use. He's a very versatile player. I wouldn't call him a utility player. Right back. I think he can play right back or play right midfield. You can play the 8. You want to play him on the left. You want to do so on the right. Bless up Tripoli. I'll cover bless up. We need 8. What do you mean we don't need 8? We need 8. We have average 8s. You guys, you settle with the 8s you have. Who we have as 8? We need 8. We need 8. We need 6. We need 10s. We need a midfield. I'm not buying that notion that we only need 6. No, we need a midfield. We need to upgrade the midfield. You may not like it. We need to upgrade the midfield. Kyle Walker-Peters to me. Kyle Walker-Peters, Dwight McNeil. Now we have no Gibbs White. Those are the 2 I would love. Casey Anderson and Palmer are good players, but they can be upgraded. Both of them can be upgraded. And K-Roy plays the 8. I mean, it's the 6, sorry. K-Roy is more a 6 than an 8, actually. But no, we if we can get Hayden in the 6th. That'd be good. I think we should pursue Kyle Walker-Peters. Very versatile player. Very good on the ball. And Carsley was talking about him today, and I bet he's going. I thought he played a game for England already. I'm not sure if he was over 21 or was a friendly, but we should look into that. We should be pursuing him like, you know what? Because he ain't getting more than 1 cap for England. I'm telling you right now. I don't care what they say. He didn't get more than 1 cap. So they may want to cap him just to prevent him from playing for any other country, not us specifically, but any other country. We should find ways to go pursue him. I'm not sure why we're not doing that. So from where I sit, the England team is a decent team. It's getting younger. They are now rotating, just like how the coach left. You see player changes starting to occur, right? The Rico Lewis and the others coming in. You're going to see Gordon Dollars get more game time. You're going to see the Gibbs White coming in. I think Gibbs White will be in that team for a while like that. I think he's that versatile player. Very athletic, skillful, good shot on him, good passer. His game just continued to improve, and I'm very sorry that we didn't pursue him. But I think now that Dwight McNeil should realize he ain't making this team, we should go pursue Dwight McNeil. We should pursue Dwight McNeil, and we should go investigate if Smith Rowe is he fully capped or not before he was 21. So Dr. Dan say, Kranky, the issue we have is that these players are 5-stars, so England's going to want them. No, we don't want on Dr. Dan. We don't want on 3-star nothing. We can get 5-star before them. We can get stars before them come 5-stars. So people like the Splats of the world, for example, who are very good players, we should go pursue them. Right? Delano Splat and people like Splat who had great ratings, 18, 19-year-old, go pursue them. Bring them in. Make them feel good. Cap them up. So if they don't materialize, give them enough cap in a game would mean something. So they can't play for nobody else. That's what people are doing. What are you talking about, Claudine? You mess up my morning with your Amari speech. What? What are you talking about, Claudine? You mean because I say he's not coming? Amari's waiting for England. Hey, if you're Amari Hutchinson, people, and you see Gibbs White get capped, and Rico Lewis get capped, and you're in the Premier League playing for Ipswich, you're like, hey, I can get capped too. I'm good like Gomez. Gomez, when I went to France, Gomez didn't have the same profile when he left Man U. Been in France for about 3 years. He's now capped by England. Because Lee Carson know all of them. I think we get more than 3 stars. There's a bunch of kids out there who I know we can play for Jamaica. If we pursue them the right way, we got to have a vision to pursue them. Can just come play for we. Make a compelling case for them to come play for us. We can get some of them. We need that quality. We're not on top of no 3-star player. We're not 3-star people. We're 5-star. We go luxury hotel. We're not go regular thing. We're not in the 3-star business, people. We're not in the 3-star business. We're not doing that. So if you want 3 stars, I'm not supporting 3 stars. Now, if we have no choice, then yeah, we have to revert to 3 stars. But we're looking for 5 stars. We're looking at 5-star potential. We're not looking for 5-star players because it's hard to get 5-star player. And here's one thing I want to say, people. This old concept and view about people being England reject, well, Gibbs White was an England reject until they call him. Right? Until you get called in a country, you can call me a reject. But then I got called, so I'm a long reject. And people like to make those comments and those statements. And I have no idea why they do that to belittle people. I have no idea why you want to do that. You're in Jamaica, you can't get called. Jamaica is not ranked in the top 5 in the world like England is. So I'm not sure why you want to use those statements and those views just to be controversial or just to be, from where I sit, just rude. Omari is not a 5-star player. Omari is a 3.5-star player who's progressing to 4. But Omari is waiting for England. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's where he was born. Nothing wrong with him waiting. The question is, will we take him when he can't get in the team? If he doesn't get in the team. But he probably will get capped too. I'm telling you, Carsley going to cap all of them. Every one of them that look that they have potential playing the Premier League, in some of the championship, he's going to cap them. He's going to say, you know what? We don't want at some later point in time this player complain for some other country. We're going to cap you. So I haven't heard anything about Reece Nelson, Tony, which is interesting. Silent on Reece Nelson. West Ham at one point was interested. Palace was supposed to be interested. All these teams that are supposed to be interested, it cooled off. And he's better than some of the other players. Nah, I got people. You see, if me come here and talk about certain things, doesn't mean I'm 100% right, but it means I've gotten information from some sources. Okay? Reliable sources. If I'm coming emphatic about something, that means I trust the source. Now the source could be wrong sometimes, because even Fabrizio Romano get things wrong sometimes. But if you hear me come talk about something and I sound so definitive about it, I'm getting it from someplace. I'm not pulling out of my, you know what. If I come say this player is going to wait, I've gotten it from good source. Now, it could be, I'm not going to say I'm 100% right, because you never know, your source may make a mistake, but I've gotten it from good source. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, Dr. Don, if they're 5-star, they have me by England for a while. Like, for example, I think Walker Peters, to me, is a 4-star. Well, he's probably a 3.5-star, but if he come for us, he's a star. I think he's be one of our better players. You know, when he left Tottenham, I don't think people think he would have done as well as he has, but he's done well at Southampton. He's been in the Premier League. He's a good player, really good player. And I love players who are comfortable with the football. And he's very comfortable with the football. Bless up, Dr. Hero. Yeah, I haven't heard of any new faces, actually. So I could be wrong on that. I haven't heard any faces. Which squad? The Jamaica squad or the English squad? Jamaican family vibes. Which squad are you alluding to? But look, I don't expect, if any new faces coming, it's probably one or nothing. I haven't heard of any new significant faces. I'll put it that way. That's in the squad. I know everybody's getting excited about Greenwood. He's not coming this window. So you can get over that. There's an October window. Anything is possible, but he ain't coming this window. But he's on the cards, right? He's on the cards. So it's probably only a matter of time, hopefully, for this to get done. There are some challenges, but it's only a matter of time. Claudine, the Lord is not involved in sports. I hate to tell people this, but the Lord is not involved in sport. He or she is not involved in sports. That's a human condition. That's a human activity. There ain't no Lord involved. So you can't pray for no Lord for make some player come play for you. So should England be praying for him to stay in England, Claudine? He's not coming to Jamaica. He's playing well. The last time, I didn't watch him against Man City, but I watched him the first game. I thought he did fairly well when they played Liverpool. I thought he looked good. And he's improved since he played for Jamaica. But yeah, but if he was going to come, he'd have come already, I think, actually. See, we got to talk about that, Alcova 89. You ever thought about that? That's why he may bring up some things, you know. So let me take up some topic in this. Let me take up the topic about fans, take up the topic about Greenwood, take up this topic about the JFF. So I want to transition at 7 o'clock. People can call in for about 5 minutes because of hour-long discussion about the JFF. Hour-long discussion, people. And if you type into coming on, I have enough to say about the JFF. You know what? Maybe I do the transition now, actually. Maybe I do the transition now. Dr. Ear said, I will spell out MM make that statement about Hutchinson, the friendly game, he didn't come back. Yeah. MM had nothing to do with Hutchinson not coming back. Hutchinson had a problem with the previous coach. That's what I heard anyway. Who probably didn't want to play him as much as he probably should be played. That's my understanding. I don't know. Plus, the kid probably, if you're that young like he is, you could probably keep going back and forth. I got to fly 9 hours and no, I turn up in that stadium. So let me be in the person's seat. So I should fly 9 hours to Jamaica, go play against Trinidad and Tobago in 2 friendly games. And all I hear were crickets in the stands. And I'm used to playing at Ipswich and for Chelsea junior team. Even my junior team at Chelsea probably had more crowd. I'm playing for Ipswich in the Premier League and I'm having thousands. I come to Jamaica and I look around and all I'm seeing are empty seats. Why am I supposed to go? I'm gonna wait for England. We get first class accommodation, first private jet flight. The stadium is full. The food is awesome. I'm gonna wait, yeah, man. If I'm gonna go to Jamaica, I'm gonna take vacation during the bless up gaming. I'll take some time off during the international window and go relax with my family. Get 2 days off from training, go to Spain for a quick Barcelona for a quick turnaround. If you come fly 9 hours, come sit down and stadium when nobody 9 up, I come no way. That's how I think, people. So I'm not saying that's how they think, but that's how I think. The worst thing to play football in front of an empty stadium. And we do that well in Jamaica, by the way. So let's transition, people. Let's transition. And if you have any more comments, let me look at the comments first before I start. So JFF. So you see my thumbnail, which is, let me hear from you guys. In general, are Reggae Boy fans too critical of the JFF? Let me hear your perspective, people. I have a long dissertation here. Jamaican Family Vibe says, I have my respect for Dixon, how Dixon came up in this country after I transferred to a new team. Every other players find excuses that they just get a new team and need to settle down. Yeah, no, I mean, look, people are different, right? If I'm his age and I get called, I'm running to go. Yeah, I mean, a player shouldn't feel disrespected if they do comparisons, Claudine. That's just you taking things personal. He has confidence in ability, which he's showing now. And that's why he left Arsenal to go to Chelsea. That's why he left Chelsea to go to Ipswich. The kid is a confident kid. He's been known kid since he's like 7 years old, doing all these tricks. So yeah. Yeah, well, Ivan Toney should have played for Jamaica, actually. But some people prefer to get 1 cap for England and come to Jamaica and get 20 caps, right? There are different reasons. There's money's a big factor all the time. Profile is a big factor. I play for a top 5 team versus I play for a team ranked 50 something, right? And they live in England, people. So you got to understand that. That profile is important for them. That's where they live most of their lives. Not like Antonio who come to Jamaica every year and had that affiliation. Some kids don't have that. So Dasrell says, why we only have these discussions at a time when we have games coming up, and most of it's negative dominate the conversation. So this conversation wasn't about any game coming up. Why I'm having the conversation. I had a long back and forth with somebody today. I won't say who. And the view was that as I said before, I had no plans to do a show today. Let me repeat that. I had no plans to do a show, but I was trying to get some information from someone, and they said to me, you guys in YouTube are always critical of the JFF. Always critical of the JFF. And I said, that's not true, because sometimes I will defend the JFF when they should be defended, but if they don't do well, I'm going to beat them. That's what I said to the person. I won't say who the person was. And then I said to myself, you know what? There's an opportunity to reset. I said to myself, based on discussion, you know what? I'm gonna have a show today. And you can know my thumbnail came out later today, probably about 2, because I had no plans to do a show. After Tuesday's show, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a break for the rest of the week. I wasn't happy. So I had no plans to do a show. But I decided to do the show because the back and forth with the person, let me say, you know what? Maybe there's a way to have a conversation, like a grown-up at a conversation in a forum to talk about these things. Talk about why the view is the way it is. Talk about some of the negatives. Talk about the positives. And then talk about where do we go from here. Right? That's what I'm viewing it. So Dasrell, don't jump and say it's going to be negative. Obviously, there's going to be some negatives involved, but that's not the gist of the conversation. That's not what engendered this conversation. That's what now triggered the need for the conversation. Right? So let me say this. And I wrote this out, so I'm going to read what I have here, that I jotted down. The question of whether reggae fans are too critical of the Jamaica Football Federation is nuanced, and we can view this from different perspectives. What do you mean, drummer? So Mobe says he doesn't think Omar is playing for England. Okay, Mobe, that's your view. All right, Mobe, that's your view? That's your view. As I said, I trust my sources. And Michael Salah said, Kranky, I don't know you're a drummer. What do you mean I'm a drummer? In terms of what sense? Let me hear what that means. Michael Salah. Why do you say I'm a drummer? So from an expectation versus performance standpoint, many fans have high expectations for the Reggae Boyz, especially given the team's potential and talent pool available. And it's a big talent pool. I'm not sure we've explored a talent pool as well as we should. When the JFF underperforms or fail to meet these expectations, fans will express their frustration towards the JFF, believing the poor management or lack of proper planning or inadequate support are to blame for this, right? I'm just setting the stage here, people. I'm never really happy. No, Claudine, you should know because you don't hit the like button. That's why I'm not happy. When you guys hit the like button, I'm very happy. And see that? 60 people, 79 people in the chat, only 60 likes. That's why I'm not happy, Claudine. See? You guys give me a reason I'm happy. From an historical context, JFF has had a history of administrative issues such as inconsistent coaching decision, player selection controversies, and funding problems. So these long-standing issues have built up skepticism and frustration among fans who might be quick to criticize the JFF due to these past experiences. I'm just setting the stage, people. We'll get into the negatives and the positives, right? So the guy embraces the flag when he promoted JFF. Doesn't people? Let me say this, people. Because I think we have this thing skewed. Because a player may say, I'm not going to play for Jamaica and play for England, doesn't mean they don't love Jamaica enough, people. I think we have these things. We're conflating two things which are mutually exclusive. The fact that I'm going to play for England, where I grew up, I was born, I played for them all the different levels, doesn't mean Jamaica was in my household. My parents love Jamaica. I love Jamaica. My agent may just say, you know what? Hey, why are you going to play for Jamaica? Where are they going? They don't do things well. England has a lot of money. You go get an England cap. You have bonus in and all of them probably have bonus in their contract to have an England cap. It's going to be much more than what if they have any bonus for Jamaica cap. There's money involved. There's prestige involved. There's history involved. Why aren't you trying to get into the England squad? Why don't you be patient and wait? You're young, right? Doesn't mean they'll never play for Jamaica, but that's the way I view it. So we may take it personal. I don't take it personal. Constructive criticism versus negativity. While some of the criticism from fans is valid and can be seen as a way to push for better management and results, there is a fine line between management and results. There's a fine line between constructive criticism and unwarranted criticism. In some cases, fans may not fully appreciate, and this is important, people, the complexities and running a football federation, and they might blame the JFF for issues that may be beyond their control. And we don't have resources. You own everything, but you can't fix everything, right? Here's the last point, media influence. Then I'll go into the negative things for the JFF and the positive things for the JFF and where we go from here. Traditional and social media coverage can also influence fans' perception. Negative stories about the JFF often receive more attention, which can amplify criticism. If fans are constantly exposed to negative portrayals of JFF, they may be more inclined to adopt a critical stance. And here's where this manifests itself. You remember when Arsenal were doing really badly under Wenger and AFF TV, which was Arsenal Fan TV then with Robbie? They used to have people that come on there like troops and they would kill Arsenal. Negative. And it got to a crescendo where some fans were not having it anymore and confronted Robbie on the channel, right? And it was a battle for a while where people were saying Robbie was making money off the negative view and perspective on Arsenal. And people like Simon Jordan was always going to say use some derogatory term to describe Robbie and his people, because they're saying they were promoting the negativity that was being portrayed of Arsenal. That's how Robbie makes his money. I don't agree with that, by the way. I think when Arsenal does better, Robbie probably do better when they do worse. But negativity was there, right? It's a similar concept here, which is do social media, including people like myself, because I'm part of social media now, and the traditional media, are they too hard on the JFF? Are they too negative on JFF? And do we influence fans' behavior? Do we create an environment where that critique get very pervasive versus do we manage it objectively, right? So in summary, there are valid reasons for fans to be critical of the JFF, but sometimes the level of criticism can be disproportionate, especially when it overlooks the challenges that the Federation faces. Balancing legitimate concerns and understanding of these challenges might lead to more productive and constructive discourse. So let me then do this transition to go up some of the negative, because there are quite a few of them, and then some of the positive, and then I have some suggestions for the JFF, which they probably won't take anyway. Okay, if they come from YouTube, then they can't leave that valid. What are negative perceptions of the JFF? And that's where Dasrell will jump on his or her high horse, I'm not sure if it's a male or female, and say, you go Kranky with your negative things. But if you want to have a real good conversation and a mature conversation, you have to go through the whole thing. You can't just do half-ass thing and just do half of it. You got to do the entire thing. So negative perception, inconsistent coaching decisions. One of the most criticized aspects of the current JFF administration has been how they manage the coaching situation. Changes in coaches. which leads to a lack of continuity and clear direction for the team, or lack of clear direction for the team. So I'll give you an example. When you fire the person who took you to the second round of the Women's World Cup, right? No, you had some issues with the person, but that doesn't look good. When you bring on board coaches who don't look like they know what they're doing, that's difficult for fans who are going to be critical. When you bring in a coach like Hagrimson, and halfway through his tenure, he just leaves, what does that say? And we can't get a straight answer as to why he left. I don't care what anybody says. We can't get a straight answer. But he left in the middle of his tenure to get to the World Cup. And the Ireland team, and some people are saying this, and someone mentioned that to me, the Ireland team he has, we're saying the Reggae Boyz is probably better than the Ireland team. Because if you look at the team, them look like a real pickup side. I'm telling you that right now. You look at the Ireland team. Go look at the Ireland team people that he called up. It looked like a pickup side. The Jamaica side is probably better and have a better chance to go to the World Cup than that team. Yet he left the job to go to them. Now he says that Ireland and Iceland are much more closer. Except for the same persuasion, I have no idea what they're more closer in. Let's go to the more negative things, because we're gonna get to the positive people. So don't just beat me for. I have to go through the entire list, because we're trying to baptize ourselves here and get rid of all the baggage and start afresh. So I'm trying to do here. Player management issues. There have been numerous controversies over time regarding player selection, contract with the JFF, and communication with players. And up to today, we still have the issues that we see with the prodigal son and the JFF, which have led to disputes in some cases. We had case before. You remember the whole Austria trip and the trip to Latin America where we refused to play, and they said we'll get to the GenSec. The JFF did listen and make some changes there, so that's a positive, right? But there's those things have been there, and they continue over time. We see it with the female team. The whole issue with the female team, from when the World Cup was supposed to be very, very positive, it worked out to be more negative than positive. So, but we go into the list, people, we're not only doing negative, we're doing negative. I start with negative first, because I want to end positively. That's why I start with negative first. So don't take it personal. Financial management allegations. The JFF have faced criticism for alleged financial mismanagement, including delays in how they set up pay players. Remember before we get Adidas deal and Copa money, how things were tough and players that don't get paid in a long time. These issues have been out there, and they're baggage which keeps on raising their head periodically. Right? So that raised concerns about the transparency of the JFF. No, those were supposed to be monetary issues, people. Right? And supposedly the monetary issues are not being better managed. Because remember we had FIFA overseeing the whole financial situation. It wasn't because our finances were that great, people. And it wasn't because we had debt. Because they weren't comfortable how the money was being spent. So JFF may complain about that, but it's a fact. Failure to qualify for major tournaments. Now, we had that with the previous World Cup since 98. We haven't qualified in over 26 years. But to be fair, we have gone through quite a bit of Copa and did well in Copa. Gold Cup. And then we've gone to the last Copa, right? And we've done well in the Nations League. So over the last year or so, things have improved on the field performance for the senior team. Now, I'm not talking about enough junior team, but that's part of the whole equation at some point, which is the under 14 won and everybody's happy. And if you question the under 14 people going to beat you, I'm going to touch upon that too. So let me progress to that. So the under 20 did horribly. The under 15 for females did horribly, even though I don't really watch junior football that much because of the quota thing. The senior team for both male and female have done really well, even though the women didn't make the Gold Cup because of the thing they had with the JFF, the first women Gold Cup in the region, which is a problem. Which, frankly, I said the women were just as to blame as the JFF for that. I think the JFF should have acted like adults and be the bigger people, and they didn't. And the females sometimes did things which I didn't appreciate or support, frankly. And I got a lot of beating for that, but as I don't know, I won't say it again, but it is what it is. Did I expect Grimm to be better than he is via player selection? I wasn't a Grimm fan. I didn't ask for Grimm to be fired, by the way, but I wasn't a Grimm fan. I think Grimm didn't have a style of play. I think Grimm's selection was awful. And Grimm's change, you know what killed me with Grimm? When I went to Texas and saw him made that change that we lost that game against Mexico, I know he was gone, so he wasn't professional when he did that. And he was there not dressed the appropriate way. Grimm, I'm glad you're in Ireland. Stay there. I'm supportive of McLaren, by the way. Was he the best? Was he whoever selected? No, I was selected a Spaniard, but I'm supportive of McLaren. So here's more negative. Poor relationship with fans and media. The JFF has struggled to maintain a positive relationship with both fans and the media. Communication is always not, maybe use euphemism here. Communication is not always good. I could just say awful or poor. Though it's improving. So we see much more press conferences. We see much more engagement. I'll talk about some of the positives. And so when you don't have good communication, there can be a lack of trust between the federation and stakeholders, inclusive the fan. And that's part of it. Right? And I'll go to some of the solutions I think we should do. I don't think we have enough support for women's football, and that's not the JFF. JFF has improved there. That's also the fans. On a talk, a big talk, but not support the women's team as much as they should. Come now, go again. Bless up Rockford. So the fans, them who like to beat, they need just as much beating. Because them now do fit them part to make things better. And then, developing for the juniors and the domestic leagues. I mean, the women's league need to be better. The leagues just across Jamaica need to be better, period. Just need to be better, period. So those are what I deem to be the negatives per se when you relate to the JFF. Now let's go to the positives. Because there are some positives. Positives. World Cup qualification for the women's team. Second round for the women's team, even though they had issues. So here's another thing we have to say to your people, because I say, Kranky, that's not the JFF. No. Whatever is under your jurisdiction, negative or positive, you own it. So I don't want to hear, oh, well, we went to the World Cup despite the JFF. No. If you're going to beat them when things don't go well, then you got to give them their credit when the credit is due. So we went to the Women's World Cup for the second time. We went to the second round of that World Cup. The JFF get them flowers. I know what the noise was. I know what the history is. Then get them flowers. Reggae Boyz getting the semi-final of Nations League, and to me could have won that Nations League. Played well against the US, even though we were a low block. Going to Copa, even though we didn't win any game, we went to Copa. We get money from them. The Adidas deals, the 876 engagement, even though I don't think we should have gone 876, but that's just me. We should have gone someplace else, but that's just me. The view of trying to reach out to the diaspora, there are things the JFF is doing to change and improve from a performance standpoint. I did talk about the under 20 being poor, so I'm not going back into the negatives. But the under 14 doing well in Caribbean is good. But let me say this to JFF and everybody else, because some of you guys and the fans are saying you guys are too critical. The Caribbean is no longer our benchmark. The Caribbean is no longer our benchmark, people. A country like Trinidad have gone to the dogs. No medal at Olympics. Football has gone to I don't know what. 5 players who play in the top 30 leagues in the world. Trinidad has gone south. If you want an example of a country that fell off a cliff and was doing well historically, given the small population was Trinidad, they're now opposite. So Jamaica is not the worst. I know I'm going to be being for my friend about this, but to use an example, but it's true. Brandon said another positive was implementing child protection protocols, also applying FIFA funds for. Yes, JFF are doing things. I mentioned some of the positives. So the World Cup qualifications and the performance of the team, there are a number of youth team initiatives that have been undertaken to create this elite. They went through the FIFA youth development ecosystem process. I saw the Trinidad document, to be honest, and there are a lot there that Trinidad needs to do. I'm sure Jamaica is in the same place as Trinidad related to that. My understanding from the JFF, talking in general, is they're working on some deficiencies that were noted and going to take a while to effect them. Now, here's my thing, JFF. I was going to talk about positives. We're going to talk about that. Because you can't go do things in a vacuum and behind closed doors. People need to know. So youth development, there's a greater emphasis on youth development. Now we have to put a program together, a strategy together, about how we do that, right? You saw with the under 15s, for example, under 17s, Freddie Butler is now the coach, on a more long-term basis, has players from Jamaica and the US involved in this. That's a good start. Bringing ex-players in to be part of the process, right? We're getting more international friendlies across all different age groups. So we're playing more football and get more experience. And as sure as part of the FIFA initiative, they're learning also that, and I saw that for Trinidad, if you look at what the top 20 teams or the 21 to 50 teams play, the number of games they play for their youth teams, it's materially different from what we do in the Caribbean. Materially different, right? They practice like 3-4 times a week for a certain number of hours. They play a number of games each week. We don't do that. We play some schoolboy football for a certain period of time, and then the football is done. that has to be changed, and JFF has to change the whole construct. Question: will they have enough money to do it the right way, or will they have to make some sacrifices? It doesn't matter. The JFF also has been working on thinking through strengthening ties with diaspora, but we don't want them to just strengthen ties. We want to be involved in the process. We don't want you just come for the money, JFF, but that's a good thing to strengthen ties with diaspora across the US, Canada, and the UK mainly, right? Part of it is recruiting players, but it's also not trying to reach out to other organizations to bring together that engagement dialogue. Infrastructure. I know we have a center in Jamaica, a center of excellence. I also saw Bob Grains in one of our address to the Parliament talk about some improvement to be made to the National Stadium. My hope is that we can generate resources to really enhance the stadium, refurbish the stadium, and also make sure the fields that players playing on are better. And I know the JFF is trying to work through some of those things, but money is always a challenge. The JFF has to secure sponsorship. They have to secure more sponsorship deals. FIFA deal is good, but whether it's local or international, they have to spend more time on the road trying to generate sponsorship. Now, what do I view to be some of the proposed solutions? So this is negative and positive, people. And then you can't come up with negative and positive when you have a direction of travel you're going to go for going forward. Would I consider being what? President of the United States? Of course, but I wasn't born here. So I can't be president. No, I'm a YouTuber, Eco Reads. As the JFF tell me, I'm a critic. That they call me. Some of them anyway. But I do think, so I'm going to give you some suggestion, and I would like to be involved in one of these. So here's my suggestion, people. So addressing the conflict between the fans and the Jamaica Football Federation requires a multifaceted approach. It's not one-dimensional. You can't just say we do one or two things. It's going to be multifaceted. And here's some proposed solutions, JFF, and to people in the chat and others who are interested in this. They have to implement a system of regular communication, a more formalized system, and something informal of regular communication with fans, including updates on decisions, financial transparency, and strategic plans. Don't just come tell me when you have tournament and you have coach, you want to come talk to me. I don't care if other administration do it or not. That's what they do. That's not what we're doing. We're moving in we're in the 21st century. We are futuristic. We are visionaries. That's how we want to operate. So you may say, you know what? On a monthly basis, we're going to meet with the fans. It's going to be broadcast, or on a quarterly basis. Whatever frequency you want to use, make it frequent enough, or bi-monthly, every 2 months. We're going to have updates on decision we're making. We're going to talk to you about the finances. We're going to talk to you about a strategic plan. And by the way, when I look at I'm going to have a strategic plan here for one country next week's show to talk to their strategic plan, because I think this is important. But talk to us about what you're doing. Get us involved in it. Let us be informed. We ain't running your program, JFF, but we want to be involved. We are fans. We keep this thing alive. And YouTube keeps you alive more than any other thing, because traditional media go about their business. We're talking about you 24/7. But we're not just YouTubers. We're fans also. So keep the fans informed. Come up with some frequency of communication with the fan base, with all the stakeholders, not just fan base, with stakeholders, right? And me are beating upon this. When we have documents like the results of the FIFA thing, walk us through it. We know it's not great. You're going to tell us it's not great. We know it's not great. But you know what? You can tell us what you're doing to correct these things and how we can help. We'd love to do that. You should also establish a regular fan forum where supporters can voice their concern directly to the JFF officials, which could help to get communication. So whether you have a way in terms of, you know what, Town Hawk type construct, I could do it via virtual medium with some controls around it. Like I said, they might have, women for Kamala Harris with 40,000 people. We don't have no 40,000 fans, but at least it's a structured way of operating and engaging where we can communicate with your JFF. We can express positives and things think you need to improve on. Right? So we create fan forums. We're not saying this is not done by the administration. We don't care about what other people do. It's what we want to do. Former players and coaches should be part of the whole process about how you engage them in decision making, and they can bring different perspective to you. People are, people at the coolies of the world, all over the world, learning from different people. Bring them in, bring them ideas in, engage with them, have a conversation. Right? We all don't know everything about everything. So I know we have people like Freddie Butler involved, and we have Bibi Gardner involved, and more of that should be part of the whole equation. Especially those players we know are doing well post-playing, or maybe coaches are involved in the sport. Right? Bring them into the conversation. Fan representation. So I'm interested in that one, yeah. introduce a fan representation or advisory board that works closely with the JFF. This could ensure that the fans' voices are heard in key decisions, particularly those that affect team performance. So think about it this way. So if we have all these forums and we get all this intelligence from the fans and they have some great ideas, how we relate to the JFF? Unless you have one-on-one contact with people, you can't get to them. If we have an advisory board, we meet every 3 months, every 4 months. We collate information as a fan. We go through each advisory board. We sit down and talk to the JFF and have real conversations. That would help in the process. Here's some of the things that JFF may not like, but no, some have to say JFF. The JFF should also prioritize hiring qualified professionals for key management roles. This includes, I mean, not calling on anybody, but it's technical directors or coaches or administrative staff who have proven track record. People, you can't have the same people that do the same job for years and years and years, and you're not doing real evaluation and making sure they're producing. That cannot be the case. We have some people who are in position for donkey years and we're not seeing a product from them. That needs to change. Get people with the right skills. I'm not saying get cranky people. So I'm not saying, boy, cranky want a job. Me don't want a job. I'm retired. Right? Can't come here and run my mouth and talk to no. I'm not looking for no job. Would I do an advisory role? Yes, but I'm not looking for a job. But let me say this. For any company I know, any organization I know, the quality of the people enables the success of that organization in a lot of instances. Even people who have the best product, they have quality people who can say, you know what? Let's decipher this product. Let's scrutinize this product. Let's challenge this product and get the product to something which people can buy. You need quality, intellectual capital to inform decision-making, to help you achieve your goals. People do the same thing year after year and have no product. Maybe they're limited in what they can do. So people take this personal sometimes and say they question the intellect. No, we're saying, are you sure you have the best people in each of those seats doing the right job? I'm going to give you an example, people. You know, I'm going to digress here a little bit. And this is not about the JFF. It wasn't the JFF fault. But yesterday, so I shouldn't interrupt what I'm going through, but I'll interrupt it. Yesterday, I was on the conference call that was being held for the under 14. Was it yesterday or the day before? One of them did it. I think it was yesterday or the day before. And I know the JFF couldn't see this, but there was someone on the call who was half naked people. He was in one, so they had all the people called into it. I didn't call into it. I was just watching it. Called into it, and he had a computer in his chest, and he was half naked. And that wasn't the JFF's fault, because the JFF couldn't see him there. But that person who works for one of the major newspapers, that was inappropriate and unprofessional. That's why I call you. Come and watch it. It's on YouTube right now. You're there with your shirt off, with a computer in your chest, and you're in a conference call, for Christ's sake, for a professional organization. Now, that is not reflective of the JFF, but that was a newspaper person, and you know we like to complain and criticize, who was doing this, which I thought was so unprofessional, it's ridiculous. Seriously. I was shocked to see that. Right? I know what the person was spoken to at some point, but those things are not acceptable. You can go on YouTube and see it if you think I'm taking that line. Not acceptable. But that's not JFF, but I just want to digress and touch on that before I forget. Clear long-term vision. The Federation should articulate a clear long-term vision for football, for Jamaica football, including the results of the FIFA review, which should come out, the vision for them, the philosophy for the football, the strategic goals, and this should be communicated to us, the fans, so we can see, you know what? They have plans, and then they can come back periodically to tell how the plans are progressing and how we can help. That needs to be done. Youth development and local talent, which is what we just sort of mentioned, which is more around what they came to, what FIFA informed them about, the whole FIFA youth development ecosystem thing, which is very impressive that FIFA undertook, because FIFA want more competition in their football now. FIFA is saying we can't have the same European teams and some South American teams winning every year. Where's Africa? Where's CONCACAF? Where's Oceania? Where's Asia? That cannot be okay. But you can't get there to compete unless you have the right people in the right seat directing the football. Right? Financial management accountability. The JFF should be transparent about how funds are being used, particularly those received from sponsors, FIFA, and other sources. I know audits are done, but you know what? We're not getting true audit results. Right? We need public disclosures, and we need to get more information. And you can sit down with the advisory board and can go to I would love to go to the audits in detail, understand what they audit, how they audit, how they get comfortable with the conclusion they reach. I would love to have that conversation with their auditors. Love to have it, especially since I have some expertise in that discipline. Revenue generation. They have to develop sustainable revenue streams, such as in the merchandise and ticket sales and partnership, which they're doing by hiring 876, by getting by getting sponsorship from Adidas, but they got to be much more. As I said, I watched the US, reading about the US the other day and what the US was doing, working with Deloitte and Touche, which is a top 4 accounting firm, issuing a bond for $200 million to build some ridiculous facility out in Atlanta. How are we going to compete with that? We have to have our intellectual capital focus on this, because when you have 3 million people or 5 million people in the diaspora and you have limited resources and you deal with a behemoth like the US, you have to bring all the skills you have together to help you compete. Otherwise, you're going to struggle. You say you're going to play it. What are you saying? Oh, you know what? Michael, I forgot about that. Too late now. I forgot about that. Football says, Kranky, we're getting ready to compete. Beating the JFF at this point is no good. Football Guru. You know, Football Guru. You should go watch a program from the inception and stop saying I beat the JFF. Because nobody not beat the JFF, Football Guru. You come in here with a certain mindset. You don't listen. You come with your negativity. We don't know negativity to the guru. No one is beating the JFF. We're giving the JFF suggestion to improve its product so we can support them. That's what I've been talking about. Now, you come in here saying I'm beating the JFF, you're off key because that's what you come with every day. Okay? So go back to where you come from. Don't get me upset. Nobody now beat the JFF. We're giving suggestions here. Performance and results. The JFF should manage fans' expectation by being realistic about the team's capabilities and challenges. This includes areas where we need to improve and setting achievable goals. So if you tell me we can win World Cup, I mean, there's some JFF persons and then want to get to the 3rd and 4th round where it's not possible. You have to manage fans' expectations sometime. I don't know if they pay early for hope, but I'm trying to give some suggestions which they may not listen to. I don't know why Football Guru so we are criticizing JFF when we hear a positive thing with upon. I don't understand people, you know. You jump in at the chat, you don't listen to nothing, just come in here with the negativity. Because that's what you expect all the time. Ika Rick says, are you confident in McLaren's ability to take us to the World Cup? Yes, one word. I'm not going to pontificate. Yes, I'm confident that he can. But he needs to recruit because he can't do it with the current team we have. I don't think this current team, as currently comprised, will get us there as we expect. I think we need some help. And that's where he needs to come and get those players on board. And the JFF and the Ministry of Sports and PICA need to help him do so. He can't do it by himself. There needs to be an expeditious line when somebody come in, some VIP or some special circumstances, let me go through the process. Consistent team selection. I'm going through my list, people. They have to manage the coaching situation better. We have too much changes. I don't know why change makes some time. And make sure that we have a long-term construct around coaching for the junior team and the senior teams. Right? Obviously, teams turn over coaches, but Southgate was at England coach for 8 years. Right? He wasn't there for 2 minutes. Obviously, he did well in those tournaments, but we have to have more consistency in our coaching, especially at more junior level. So Guru objectives to defend BLE and JFF is not open to anything else. Yeah, I mean, no crowding. No crowding. Community initiative. Launching community-based football program initiative could help build a strong connection between JFF and the grassroots. JFF, we go to the community. Them lazy people don't have their own. So you may got beaten for this, but we don't really care. And for the same people that run the parish association for year after year after year, we need some new blood to run some of them places there. You need new blood with new ideas, new vigor. That's why they replace Biden, because him get old. We have people in JFF who have long-term like Biden. I run them things for 20, 30 years. No new ideas, no inventiveness. JFF, weed out some of them. I know they support you, but weed them out. You need new blood, new ideas, new energy to do this. And we support you if you do that. And then you can get involved with the community. We have to build a community-based organization to help move this along. Crisis management. So you think there was fan education and engagement, crisis management. The JFF should have a crisis management plan in place to address issues as they arise, including respond to fans' concern in a timely, respectful manner, which don't happen all the time. acknowledging from mistakes, acknowledging past mistakes and outlining steps taken to address them can help rebuild trust with the fan base. You have to sometimes be humble and eat humble pie if you want good, right? So I think if they implement those solutions, it go a long way to building trust, not only with the fan base, but the business community, with the sole objective of, look, people, we can't always fight people. Here's my philosophy on that. I know some people say, boy, you're cranky, you go kiss up to the JFF. I saw the man stay, you know. I mean, I don't think they want to know. No can't say that. I don't really care if I say that. My goal is always to have harmony, to have compromise, to work as a collective, to achieve a common goal. We're not just trying to get to the World Cup. We're trying to have a sustainable football program, which we can be part of on a continual basis, and one which will allow us to compete at every age group across the globe. That's what we focus on. For this to occur, all the stakeholders have to be on the same page. All the stakeholders have to respect each other. All the stakeholders have to work as a collective, not as disparate parts to this whole equation. So whether it's sponsors, whether it's the marketing team that's engaged externally, whether it's the JFF, whether it's the players, whether it's the fan base, all of us who are stakeholders, I'm not sure if I'm missing any group, need to work as a group to do so. I think the JFF has been doing a better job, even though I heard some people say they're not coming on YouTube for a little while, which they should change their mind, because I think it's always good no matter how much beating you get. I think it's a good thing when the administration is reaching out to the public via social media and other means to engage, right? I'll also say another thing, which may be a beating, but JFF, we laud you for coming out and talking about the under-14 success. But we're also going to criticize you when you don't come out and acknowledge what happened to the under-20 and the girls team and explain what you think transpired. Even if you come out and say, look, this was horrible. This happened. Here are some of the contributing factors. We're doing a more thorough assessment of what transpired. We're going to come back to you at a certain date, defined date when it's done, to talk you through what we think happened and how we're going to fix it. That's proactive. You can't be proactive and happy and want to call a press conference when things are great, but when it's not, you're not ready to take the pressure and what you call beating. No, do it both ways. Then you get more respect, right? It's not beating the JFF, just saying how we should operate. So my hope is that the fan base, I hope we can have a clean slate. At some point, we're going to be on the same page, people. Okay, if you have the fan always beat the JFF, and JFF not happy with the fans say we're going to shut up, then it's not going to work really well. We need a JFF to be engaged, and we need to engage the JFF in a professional way, in a good way. Doesn't mean they can't be criticized, because everybody get criticized. Jeremiah said we need 10 players. Jeremiah, you want a whole new team. I know it's going to work. Does the JFF have a constitution of election? So which old boy is he talking in? Maybe that's pressure on Claudine. I should stay out of that. I know what Claudine is talking about. You may have a constitution in a presser. You may have all this in a, but if I see people that circulate, we don't know how much we don't know how that work. Presser, we don't know that work. Seeing people that go in that circle, we don't know that work. The JFF needs new blood. And JFF has to, here's the JFF. JFF needs to have an oversight body helping them with the context of this, which is assessing who assess the JFF organization to make sure they're doing things the right way. Because FIFA is not the person to do it. And then say, JFF, be self-critical. Which company you know, or okay, this is a football team, people. We have a football team, Jamaica Football Team. I don't know if there's any window we call the same players every single window. Yes, there's some players there who we know are great, they do really well, they come, but we turn over some players who don't believe are performing at the right level. That's the same way for companies. So that should be the same way for football organizations. Not everybody in every position is going to do an excellent job. And you're always trying to improve the position. I'm going to ignore football guru. I'm not talking to you. I'm going to ignore you. I'm going to ignore you. I'm going to move on, people. If you have the comments, me just tell me. We can't do video. You don't listen. You just come in the forum and run your mouth. You don't listen. That's what I said. We're not talking about any federation football guru. I just said that. We're operating differently. Because we have different circumstances and different situations. And this is 2024. This is not 1940. Jamaica has been a football nation since 1910. You go look it up. That's over 120 years, 24 years, or what? 114 years. And we're still struggling. We ain't making no progress. I don't know what you're talking about. So why would you just waste of time? Waste of time. Pure waste of time. No, I get upset ego raise, but a waste of time. Waste of time. Waste of time. You might tell me what federation will do. We just said we don't want to be like every other federation. We want to do things differently. We're trying to reset the apple cart. We're trying to redress and reassess how we operate and operate differently. We're not trying to be like everybody else, football guru, or you don't have that ability to think that deductively. Is that what it is, football guru? You want to sit in your old ways. No football federation. We're not any football federation. We're Jamaica Football Federation. We're going to do things differently. We're going to have engaged fans differently. We're going to engage players differently. Yes, Mr. Tinskin, Travis, because he's coming into the same thing over and over again. All him do I come in and criticize. He has no constructive thing to suggest. Except him want to criticize. Yeah, I'm a thin skin. So you know I'm thin skin, yes. I'm here trying to add some value and be positive. And he come into the forum, talk about me, I criticize from just come in the forum, me, I criticize. Hear the conversation, him not listen, him not go from the beginning, and just come and criticize. So you push hard on me, I'm gonna push back hard on you. Because it's nonsense. I don't have time for nonsense. I spend time thinking about these things and put my things on paper. Go do so and send it to me. Whatever your name is. Because you're not a football guru. There's nothing guru about how you operate. You probably don't understand what the concept guru means. People know I'm calling. We have about, I'm still going to do a show today now. No, me sorry to come to the show. Because people like him just waste my time. Waste of time. We come here to say we want to reset with the JFF. Because I had a long discussion with somebody today. That's why I decided to do the show. A long discussion with somebody, and they were saying, you guys criticize us too much. And say, you know what? Let me come here and talk about what's negative, what's positive, what we should do going forward, and we want to reset how we operate. We want to re-engage how we operate. We can't get people in the stadium. If you show somebody that you like to engage with them, they're part of your organization, you value them, they're going to operate differently in terms of how you operate. Right? Yeah, Jamaica's probably no different from most developing countries, actually. Most of them have challenges. Right? But, and sometimes people are trying, but sometimes they need help. Bless up, Conrad. Sometimes they need help. We have to figure out a way to help the JFF. And we have to figure out a way to not just beat, because beating nice and beating get views. We have to figure out a way to be positive, engage in a positive way, allow this thing to work really well. Look, when people do things that are not positive, they're going to get criticism. That's life. But also, when they do things that are positive, they should get their flowers, right? And sometimes they do things, if they explain to you why things don't work, you get a bit of appreciation. You ever see that sometimes when your kid probably come to you and say, Daddy, I did this wrong, and you feel so good because they fessed up without them lying and you getting upset? You probably give them more latitude and more leeway. That's what we're talking about. When you talk about your challenges and your issues, when you're transparent, people are more receptive to you. If you hide things, if you do things which seem to be nefarious, then no one engage with you. That's just general human behaving. Unless you're a Trump supporter, because they don't really care what I'm doing. Right? We want to be positive. We want to be positive for change. Okay, football guru. They don't need to reinvent. Fine. JFF is doing a wonderful football guru. They have no problems with the fans. They have no problems with sponsors. The sponsors want to come to them. Except football guru, I get a lot of intelligence information from people in the know who tell me differently. Okay? And you wouldn't believe what somebody mentioned to me that who's in the know what they told me about situation in Jamaica. Sometimes you come to these forums, you don't say these things, but they are facts basically, and they turn out to be facts. And so you may have your perception, football guru, and that's fine. If you believe that's how it should be, that's fine. I want to add some value, and I want the JFF to do better, and I want us to have a better relationship with them. I want fans in the stadium. Because at the end of the day, you know who benefits from all of this if they do really well? The fans. It's always about the fans. It makes us feel good. And sometimes fans don't realize that if we're always negative, we ain't going to have good outcome. Now, I'm not saying we can't criticize. I'm not saying we can't challenge. But if you're always negative, sometimes people just tune you out and say, you know what? No one deal with you no more. How you come up with that negativity? You have no suggestion. That's good. And sometimes you have that in your own life. You know people like that. They're just negative, and you just want to deal with them. No, they need to reinvent the wheel. They need to reinvent the wheel, Football Guru. I don't see no best practice them to follow. I don't know what best practice you're talking about, but I don't see no best practice. They need to reinvent the wheel. Now, reinventing the wheel doesn't mean you don't compare and leverage and emulate, because maybe you don't do those things. I don't know what wheel they're following then, because the people have been happy with how things have been going. Right? That's why people don't do those things. So I don't agree with Football Guru. You may call it something else. I think they need to do some things differently. Now, people in the JFF may not think so, and that's part of the problem. You have one group saying, I don't like how you operate, and you're saying, I'm operating fine. Then how do you meet in the middle anyplace? It's like me trying to explain way back when we had a thing with the girls saying, you know what? Be the adults in the room, eat some humble pie, just get things done, and people stand in their corner and pout, and then we have them not making the Gold Cup. Like, who benefits from that? JFF don't get no money from it, and the girls don't get to get more exposure or compete. So the stubbornness create no value. Businesses compromise, as they wouldn't be in business. That's how it is, right? You learn how to negotiate. And I want the JFF to succeed. I want the country to keep progressing in sports, especially in the football that I love. And my hope is that the fans can be part of the process. The fans can be part of the solution, not just be the problem. That has to be. Now, I just got a text here from somebody which says me, Reggae Boyz versus Cuba after work, the National Stadium, this advertising for the September 6th game. The National Stadium, 4 to 6:30 p.m. Game time is 7. It says, get your tickets now. And there's music by Bishop Escobar. Is that it? And Naughty. I think that's what it's saying here. So the game is on September 6th. Unfortunately, I can't make that game. I have some family obligations. But it should be, hopefully we get a good team that turn out, and hopefully we have a good game. Now, what is Presser saying? You're saying the stream vest because of the local problems. Oh, Lord, your Presser, come on, Presser, man. Presser, we're talking about something different, Presser, man. Stop going with it. The old thing that, I'll take you off ice cream, Presser. I don't know why you stay so. Jesus. So people, the September 6th game against Cuba, tickets are on sale. It doesn't give me the ticket price though. Why don't I do that? So I'm having it here, the advertisement. It has some DJ. It has some, I guess these must be the selectors. I guess they have some event 4 to 6:30 p.m. is when the music can be played at Full House. If you're gonna put this flyer up, you should also put the ticket price on there. I think that'd be good. I think that'd be very good, actually. Presser said, look, we have different. So here's what Jason Goodner said the ticket prices are. Same as the last game. It's $10. So I'm gonna use my own numbers. It's $10 for bleachers. Is that what it translates to? It's $150, right? If I'm not wrong. It's the exchange rate, maybe different. So that's not a killer, people. That's not a killer. Okay. That's not a killer. So it's $10 for bleachers, which now hurt your pocket, and what, $30-something for grandstand. So that's not terrible, actually. Hey, Presser, big thing, Presser, big thing. You know, say Westmoreland, you're the Presser. I love Westmoreland now. I have people out there. 8 from Westmoreland, good thing. See, Presser bring him all contingent going to the game, people. I'm going to follow Presser lead and got a game. I don't see the game being broadcast anymore, people. I was trying to look for the feed for the game. Hey, Jason Guno, where's the game being broadcast? Because I can't find it anywhere. I've been looking for it. I can't find it. Should be the shady part of the stadium. My hope is this, people, that when they when they improve the stadium facilities, which supposedly will start next year or something like that, that they fix the bleachers to give it some shade too. if your financial situation is allowed to go to grandstand, you deserve to have some shade. It should be a money thing to get shade. Now you can put sofa seat in the grandstand if you want to make the difference between the price them, but put some shade in the bleachers. Come people, put some shade. In fact, I think the whole stadium should be very, very similar. They should put some boxes in the stadium and charge enough money for the boxes them, and then make the rest of the stadium the same. Right? Even though it's not the biggest stadium, so the seating is very similar no matter where you sit. But they should reconfigure it some way, shape, or form. What do you mean notes? What are you talking about, Conrad? Oh, I never know what I'm taking notes. Trying to good thing, Presser. See it? Presser don't just talk and then produce. Presser say him go game. Him and him people them go game. Bless big thing, Presser. Big thing. Great thing. Love you doing that. Where am I from? You mean in Jamaica, Caribbean rivers? So where am I from in Jamaica? Got enough place in Jamaica I live in. So I'm from no location person in Jamaica. Sherman said, tell Desmond. Who are you talking about, Sherman? Why we can't follow up some of the conversation? You know? I'm all over Jamaica, Caribbean. I'd probably say I'm a country boy, actually. Because I never want to really claim town, even though I've lived in Kingston. I live in 3 different places in Kingston. I lived in Hanover, I've lived in St. James, I call it Kingston, Harborview, Walton Park Road. I'm going to spend 3 months at 10 Trenchtown, people. 3 months, long time ago, I spent at Trenchtown. 3 months was all I want to spend in Trenchtown. I don't know, you beat me for coming from Trenchtown. Even though, to be honest, it wasn't that bad then. It was a while ago. Spent 3 months at Trenchtown, spent enough time at Walton Park Road, close Agda Park Road, I should say, not Walton Park Road. And spent time on Harborview when I was in Jamaica. And spent time at Lucy, or Rossi's. Fun time. Fun. That's when we weren't killing people regularly. Only once in a while. Major Desmond Brown. Okay. Major. Okay. Some people can't call him. We have 30 minutes left now. So what do you think of my ideas, people? Because we can write them down now. And if the JFF watch program, the JFF can come back to me. You know, JFF, we should have a conversation, actually. Talk about some of these things. I know football guru don't agree with me because he's the guru, but I believe some of these ideas should be leveraged because I do believe that the fans and the JFF have to have a better relationship. The relationship right now is broken and it needs to be repaired. It's not repaired. It needs to be re-engineered. Because when you repair, it's fix some parts and then something else open up. We need to re-engineer the relationship JFF. So we need to have a relationship JFF. We need to figure out how we can have a better relationship. And I think frequency of interaction sometimes is better than have material, substantive interaction. What do I mean? If you meet with me 10 times a year for half an hour versus twice a year for 4 hours, the 10 is better than the time you meet me for 4 hours. Could be the same amount of time, but the continual engagement, build up familiarity, build up better way of engaging can help in terms of that engagement. So I do think, JFF, that we need to think about how we can improve the relationship with the fans, stakeholders in general, actually. And part of the conversation originated from me saying, when I looked at the Trinidad development plan, not a plan actually, the assessment done by FIFA, I thought, you know what, if we could have the same conversation, which I know is not going to happen because the Gleaner was asking for the same information also, that it may help. We know where the JFF is or isn't and where they need to go. So we're not expecting to have utopia. But what we expect to see is that they have taken the advice, they have looked at the recommendation, they determine which ones are feasible, and they're going to effect those recommendations and put them in place. And maybe come up with their own, something that's different, right? Give the uniqueness of the environment which we operate and where we are, what resources we have. So yes, I agree with Sherman. Yeah, so I do think there needs to be an expedited process for not just for footballers, people. It should be whatever a discipline that the government think is significant and important and require such needs should go through an expedited process to get naturalized. right? I think we should have that, and that would include the footballers. So I think that should be done. And I agree, Sherman, that people need to come out on September 6th to support the football. You can't just stay in your yard and criticize people. Go support the football. Support the football, people. JFF need revenue, but more importantly, the players need your support. Nobody want to play in front of an empty stadium. Hanoverian. Hanoverian. Why not call people from St. James? Man, I know. I'm Kingstonian too. First of all, people, and people not gonna let me say this. Hanover the best place me live. I tell you that right now. I love Gorossies. I love Hanover. It's like a little community. Can't stay till 1 o'clock in the morning. Me, I like 12 years old. People raise you. You don't have to worry about nothing. You know, so Hanover different now, but when I grew up, it's a community. Everybody get along. You know everybody in a little town. Town get much bigger now. Lucy get much bigger. Love Lucy. Best place to grow up. To me in Jamaica. Even though I lived at different place in St. James and I live at different place in Kingston, there was nothing like Hanover to me. So when you go up on your fun memories in life, Rusty's a fun memory. Hanover, Lucy Primary a fun memory. Love the place. So you get around, presser. You get around. No man, Hanover was the best, man. Hanover was best. In fact, when I was in Hanover, I think Arthur Wint lived in Hanover at the time, actually. He was a doctor there for Lucy Hospital. John Crow, exactly. And I used to get bitten by a dog going up that hill. Yes, I can't forget that. And Miss Reed was my teacher. In fact, Miss Reed texted me. I didn't know Miss Reed was still around, actually. I got even though I closed on my Facebook account, I got a Facebook account from her a while ago, Facebook connection. So, no. Love Hanover to death. Even though I haven't been because of my family left there, but my favorite place. I don't think I would have grown up any place else. I have any different experience than what I had growing up in Jamaica. Bless up, Jerome. Thanks for joining. People can call in. I see the number that we almost finished with the program. So people, you want to hear this actually. Are we going to make a concerted effort to improve our interaction, engagement, perception of the JFF? Because we can't keep malice 24/7, because a malice, we have the JFF nowadays, A malice relationship, now. Up here beating them get. At some point, the malice has to go, and we have to try to have a dialogue and engagement. And the JFF also have to reach out. The reaching out has to go both ways, people. Part of the reach out is going to the stadium. And let me just say this. So I have met all JFF members. I've met Dennis Chung. I've met the President Ricketts. And I've met a few more people in the JFF delegation. And they're good people to engage with. Amicable engagement I've had with them. So if you hear me, I criticize the JFF here. Is that because they're not nice people? Because they are nice people, right? But I'm going to call things how I see them. I have met Rudolph, by the way. People think that me meet Rudolph. I mean, Rudolph's be their friend. I have met Rudolph. I've only met Rudolph through this medium, actually. And I'd love to meet him one day, actually, and have a conversation with him. A sit-down conversation, a big grown-up conversation. So what I'm going to do to try to do that, I'm going to go to Jamaica. I'll try to look him up if he wants to meet. Because, sometimes he and I have some public disagreement, but it's not personal. When I get upset in public, people, I move on. Get upset, I have to say, I move on. No, it's not personal. We have disagreement. Conversation get fiery. When the conversation is over, then we are going to other things. So Rudolph and I had some disagreement on another channel. It's all good. He and I disagree. He stick to his guns. I stick to my guns. It wasn't the most pleasant conversation, but we move on. Looking for the game. If I keep the positive vibe going, wish McLaren a good start. I think McLaren will do well. I have no doubt McLaren will do well. Now, McLaren is not playing people. So when we lose sometime, I blame the coach. He's not playing. It's his first game. He has no time to prepare his squad. He can't create miracles. Having said that, I think we have enough quality to do well. Problem that we have is that some of the players may not be playing. Excuse me, people. Some of the players may not be playing. So that need to be addressed, actually. Hey, somebody just text me. Why my friend didn't like me, A friend of mine texts me and says he didn't know I was homeless in Jamaica. I wasn't homeless. I just was a nomad. I think I live 3 places. I said this before in this program. I lived 3 places in Hanover. My last stop was Harton Court, which was a development then. Real nice place, actually. And I lived in Lucy, just outside Lucy Town itself. And then I lived someplace called, what call again? Ashkinish? Yeah, I think that was for 3 months. I lived 3 places in Kingston. I lived a couple places in St. James. So yeah, I was nomad. No. We're not doing anything. We're not nomad. No. I'm Caribbean. No, I don't think so. No. You're probably right. Wait. I don't remember those names though. No, I moved a lot. I moved a lot in Jamaica. I live amongst a lot of different relatives. You know why some miserable people are so cranky sometimes? And it's gonna get me in trouble, but I don't really care now. I say anything. I grew up with my great grandmother, you know. When I went to live with her, she was like 72. So, you know, you get some freedom as a 7, 8-year-old. But she used to walk 2 miles to go to grocery shop. So she was strong as an ox, actually. But no, I grew up with her, and she taught me that education was the only thing that matters, actually, which I took with me throughout my entire life. So it's a good thing. Yeah, you know, I lived in different places. I traveled around the island, actually. And I spent time in Westmoreland, too. In fact, one of my favorite places, Waterhouse, to go hang out at Waterhouse, actually. Really well. And I knew Waterhouse before. It's really well developed, and it's really well developed now. No. Look, we have to. I will have some engagement with some people in the JFF. I don't know a lot of people in JFF. Let me just say that. People think I know a lot of people. I don't. I know a few people, and I engage with some of them. And it's not a continuous interaction, but I think some of them are ready to listen. They just believe that we as fans are very, very negative, and so they get frustrated that no matter what they do, they can't do anything right for us. That's part of the perception I'm getting, right? And I'm saying, okay, so let's take a step back, people, and revisit this and re-engineer the relationship, and let's start on a good foot. And any relationship you have, whether it's your personal relationship, your kids, you're going to have disagreement along the way. But we got to work through our disagreements to come to a good place. We know resources are challenging. We know some situations are challenging, but we can work through all these challenges. My clients had a good time to read Jamaica's previous games. At this level of experience, should have an idea of the team. And yeah, he can, but Algram Soons had a certain style of play, which I don't know if no modern manager going to employ, actually. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, he may be spending time doing all that. I think his main thing he should be doing is recruiting. Recruit. Gaming is saying, so yeah, tell him, say Kranky, the only reason Gibbs White got called because the coach know him, and for sure if Southgate did well have job them. Yeah, I don't think Southgate would have called him, but here's the thing. He knows the players. He was a youth coach. So that's another thing too. JFF, I'm gonna make this suggestion to you. You need to identify 2 or 3 excellent coaches in Jamaica, send them to school, go get all the different accreditation, send them overseas, go get some job, and then bring them to Jamaica to run the football program. You notice what England is doing, right? Southgate coached a junior team through the ranks. He didn't coach a senior team. Lee Carsley is now interim manager, showcasing for the job, right? So they're saying we're invested in the coaches. The coaches know the player. We have a football philosophy and a style of play, which is going from one coach to the next. So you don't have to bring in a new coach and one different style of play. We want to play a certain way. We have a football philosophy. That's how it should be. That's what Spain does, right? Look at the Spain coach. Look at his nomadic lifestyle and history in coaching. I'm now coaching national team to the Euros. So JFF, the long-term strategic plan should be that. I'm going to have 2 or 3 coaches that coach in Jamaica. They may not all come back, but I'm going to give them the skill set and the toolkit and the support so they can eventually coach a junior team and transition to the national team. And it's a sequence to do so. I think we should consider doing that. Right? They know the history, they know the culture, they know the players, they know the organization, they know the fan base, they know the sponsors. They then engender continuity. We should think about doing something a little bit different, not the old stuff we used to do. He said, Kranky, Coach Macker doesn't stand to watch Cavaliers versus Police. I hope he doesn't get tainted. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. That's a good thing. I want him to do that. What he should be doing, and I've said this, Him should scour the entire island to see if him see no diamond in the rough to bring it to the national team, especially in midfield. Because you never know enough people. We may say there's nobody here, there's nobody there, they get no contract. And coaches can spot talent that may just need some little assistance. So he should be watching all the games. He did say Jamaica have talent when he's doing assessment for the FIFA program. So you know what? Now he's on the ground. That was my only disappointment with the FIFA program, which is FIFA should have followed up to ensure that the remote review they did, they put people on the ground in each of the locations to sort of confirm some of the things that they learned when they were doing their interview. And because they did a lot of survey and questionnaire, but they were not on the ground to see the facilities, to see the players, to engage the people in person. They should be updating the initiative that they undertook with the talent assessment program to make sure the information is not static, it is updated, and the countries can then leverage it as they go through the process trying to improve their football program. Yeah, he did. And I was hoping that we'd get to him before then, right? Southgate may not have brought him in because Southgate will stick to him with thing. Lee Carter, he brought in Rico Lewis. He brought in Gibbs White. Next thing you're going to go for Skelly and those other players. Because I think people like him will realize. Because remember, we had a number of youth England players came and played for the under 22 years ago, We had a number of them. So they realized that, you know what? We got to cap these players, especially the ones who are on the cusp of the national team. Cap them, lock them in. They can't play for anybody else. So Gibbs White is gone. This is what it is. There are other players out there who are younger who should be blooding into the national team. Yeah, I don't know what Grimmy told him, because I don't really trust Grimmy. I don't tell them. I don't trust Grimmy. So I have no idea what Grimmy told him. But I think McLaren is much more exposed to Jamaican culture than Grimmy would be. Grimmy come from Iceland, What Jamaican? They're Iceland. Jamaican full up England. Even if you don't want to run to Jamaica and England, you have no choice but to run to them. The food, the culture, the music, the people, the aggressiveness, the confidence, or some people call it arrogance. You're running to it, people. You either love it or you don't love it, but it is what it is. You're running to it. Because Jamaicans are very prominent and very pronounced. So they're going to be there. So he has no choice but to engage Jamaicans along his journey when he's in England. Oh, Lord, CC. Come on, CC, man. Come on, CC. Now, the point I'm making, CC, is this. Blood may not be the right word. Because people in the JPL are in the blood. But the thing is that just like how Simonis did when he went around the island and look and find a few diamonds in the rough, maybe there's one Jamaica that we missed. Because a lot of times Jamaica only recruit from 3 parishes or 3.5 parishes. So who knows who's out there who have skill set that may not have been seen or who may have been playing the JPL, but people didn't recognize their talent. I'm sure McLaren can spot talent from miles away and maybe to identify someone we haven't thought about. All right. Which I hear a lot of fans say that England is in for a show. The interim has a different philosophy than Southgate. Yeah, he may be. And they maybe want to go in a different direction. Because Southgate was very conservative. Southgate first objective was not to lose versus to win. And people believe that England has so much attacking array of talent that they were stifled by Southgate. Now, it's all good when you want to do that, but when you stop letting goals, people may not have the same view, but that's how we'd expect. Whatever football do I expect? I don't expect much in the first game. But what I would expect is that he recruits people who can keep the ball. You may talk about people like Walker Peters. He recruit people. And by the way, Devon, may I call you out? Devon, why isn't Walker Peters with us, Devon? May I call you out, Devon, in a public domain? Why aren't we seeing Walker Peters on this team? We could use him in the 8 or right back, however position. Because Lee Carter, by the way, mentioning people. Let me just say this again. The England coach mentioned Walker Peters. He was talking about people who play a certain position and how they receive the ball. So all these players have been scrutinized to get caps so they can't play for nobody else. Devon, we need to go get him. Because it wasn't by chance he mentioned his name today. Maybe don't call him this window. And he said other people are going to get called and get caps. That's what he said. We need to move fast, people, upon some of these people. And we need that expedited process at PICA and to the Ministry of Sports to bring these players in. Because the war just got escalated. Right? The war before was with bow and arrow and spear. No, not in M60. No, M60 war them a fight now. We are talking about our, probably not in M60, probably some AI war them a fight now. The way the coach are aggressive in bringing players in and capping them. Yes, I hope Dixon does exceptionally well. And look, I think Dixon's going to be a good player. I think he's a good kid. He comes across really well. He doesn't seem big-headed, at least from afar from where I sit. So hopefully he does phenomenally well. We don't care who wants to play for us, Jerome. If them tell us no, we just move on. The question is, have we pursued them? Right, Jerome? Whether they want to play for us is their prerogative. We're not beating them, they don't want to play for us. But at least I want to know the conversation been had in a very thoughtful and professional way, by not having some person distant reach out to them. I hope they get reached out to, and I hope they get engaged, and I hope they decide to say, you know what? If I play for England, I'm going to get 1 cap. If I play for Jamaica, I may get 20 cap. 20 caps, right? I wouldn't be surprised either, football guru. In fact, I do think that's part of it. Right? I do think that's part of it. Yeah, no, but hey, where's Presser people? Where's Presser there? Can somebody tell me if Presser just left this stand around? Can Presser make this nice comment? Presser, go back to your now, myself. I used to them nice comment I make all night. I not used to it, Presser. That get complex now, Presser. I know you this. Somebody impersonate you. I mean, people just impersonate you. Somebody impersonate you, Presser. Because you make these comments where you don't normally make it, and you just beat. You just say, them boy that go, they're not good. So Presser is making these comments, which I'm getting a phobia from Presser. I don't understand, but I love the comment. So don't go back to who you were. Don't stay. If they use AI to change up, them stay change. But you're right. Yeah. I mean, look. Even if initially they want to play for England, I have no problem with that actually, and they come to Jamaica. I have no problem with that. You know why? Because we would have a problem if Presser is born in Jamaica, and Presser's mother was Trinidadian, and then Presser was going to play for Trinidad. We'd get vexed. Right? We'd get vexed. And Presser live in Jamaica. We'd get vexed. It's no different than them live in England. So they can play for Jamaica and can play for England. Some people look at them differently and funny and say, you know what? You're a fast citizen. So I have no problem with that. But we got to understand that everybody's trying to get the best players on their team because they want to get to the World Cup. Because World Cup people is real. And the people understand it now. I forgot what the numbers were, but they're mind-boggling. The World Cup money you can win, people, can change your football program life. Let me say that again. The money you can get from going to the World Cup can change your whole football program life. It's serious money. I'm trying to say Jamaica, old stay, pay money, a real money, which you can reinvest in your football program and change the entirety of your football direction. That's why countries like Uruguay and them country can do so really well. Can do the every World Cup. They only have 3 million people and they can do so well. We have to make sure that McLaren get all the support he can so they go out of the game and the players get them support. I don't think I'm understanding that people. We have to go to the game and support the team so they can go to the World Cup. Right? Big deal says 1 billion. Whenever you're the one, well, when I use 1 billion people, we get confused because 1 billion Jamaican. Oh, okay. Because when you start using 1 billion term, me get confused. But no, it's a lot of money to go to the World Cup. That's why the JFF is very focused on it, and they should be. That's why every fan and every stakeholder and you sponsors who are on the fence and come off of the fence. I'm not caring if people JFF come off of the fence and can sponsor the team and sponsor the program so we can change the direction of travel. CC is going to the game. Yeah, no, and that's the thing, Jerome. I don't think we have done the best job in the approaches, because sometimes individual people approach the players and play now. It's not the JFF now. Now the JFF has given, as he said, or maybe Simon or JFF giving McLaren a list of players who have Jamaican eligibility. Hey, Simon, I hope you give him Rogers' name from Aston Villa. Because if he don't get called this window, he won't get called. The way he's been playing, he won't get called soon. We need to identify players like that even before the year start, so they have no concept of playing for England. We can bring them in. Because people like Rogers can go in a number 8 slot right away. I watch him play a number of games. I'm a big fan. When I beat them, know yourselves. When I put it up. When I say that approach, it's a different. We're turning a different leaf tonight. Yeah, big deal. There are a lot of people in the players' areas. The agent, their parents, their significant others, their friends. It becomes difficult. And if all the people in England, then people want to stay in England. No, Simon gave him the list. He said Simon gave him the list, actually. No, CC, Rogers looked like a big player, CC. I don't know if people, let me say this. I was told he has Jamaican heritage. I'm saying we should go investigate. I don't know if he does or not. I was told he does. So we should go investigate. And if he does, we should pursue him. Nah, I don't think you should talk to Hutchinson. I don't agree, big deal. I think you should leave him alone. I don't think anybody should talk to Hutchinson. Let the kid stay and make his own decision. I don't think he's been to Jamaica. He's played for Jamaica. We shouldn't have to go back to him again. I'm not into that. I've heard Jonathan Rowe. I haven't really seen him play, so I cannot comment on those. I've heard very good things about him. But yeah, we need to improve the recruiting. So know yourself, CC, know yourself. One, I have a question for you. And same question. Yeah, I think he probably is actually. Because I was told way back when that the players in the team are very supportive of him actually, even before he was named coach. So if that's the case, then at least you tick that box. Not everybody was supportive of Hagrimson. That's all I'll say. Then why should the court I never said he should talk to him. So you know what? The thing was going well tonight till I decided to get myself in trouble like I normally do. So let me say this. Because I've been saying this for a little while now. Any player who don't want to come, they don't come. Even if it's Mason Greenwood. If he doesn't want to come, okay, Mason, good luck to you. I wish you well. Next person. That's how I am. If the prodigal son doesn't want to come back, then he don't come back. We got to find another winger. We got to try to convince Nelson to come. We got to try to convince Anthony from Bournemouth to come. We got to try to convince Cameron Archer to come. In fact, we love Cameron Archer, by the way, people. In Dawa, Southampton now, pound loan. Love Cameron Archer. Should pursue him. He can play center forward. He's quick. He's skillful. He has a shot and he can shoot both. We love Cameron Archer. It's a big deal. They said about 3 times a big deal. Between Archer and Greenwood and Greer. If the prodigal son want to come, he will come. Fee business. My understanding is that Hagrimson didn't recruit anybody. I must say this though, football guru, the JFF can always improve when it comes to recruiting. The JFF, we should talk about that to JFF. You got to build up a recruiting system to enable you to go pursue those players. Right? And you also got to identify younger players who are playing under 18, under 19, even though you have your quota, who can transition to the national team in a short period. Wow. I have no comment on CC's. He may be poor for Villa, he's not poor for Jamaica. I saw him score 2 the other game for Southampton, the game they played. I saw him score 2. So Emery level is a very high level, so you never know. I don't think anybody can improve Pika. Even though I would say this, people, I'm not going to beat Pika. Because I went through the process. And it was very smooth when I went through the process. So I'm not going to beat Pika. I'm not going to do that. I'm not being Pika because I've gone through the process and it was a smooth process for me. So I'm going to have no complaints. I think when you have your paperwork, it's smooth. I think when you go out firing and go and assume name and do all that stuff, it's hard for Pika. So now I make it easy for Pika. So now I'm being Pika. My process was smooth. I had my mom's birth certificate. I filled out the paperwork. I took the pictures. Them said them will come back to me in a certain time period. They did. Process done. No CC. No CC. And since me ask a rhetorical question, you know that. So me ask that for. So Big Deal is saying Rowe is 21 and he carried the lightweight of Norwich on his back. Well, if that name was given to look, McLaren, I would hope that McLaren, when he was in England, was doing scouting. Because you hear somebody ask the coach, Lee Carsley, what he's doing for England. The first thing you talk about was scouting, you know. He's been going to games and watching games. That's what I've been told, Travis. I don't know. I've been told that he does. So that needs to be investigated. I did ask someone to do investigation. They haven't come back to me yet, but I did ask them to do investigations. I was told he has Jamaican heritage, which is not surprising because normally they're either Jamaicans or some, you know, I hear too much African and you know Rajas. So I always look at the naming convention first and then figure out where to go after that. So Devon, you need to give me the outcome. You have to give me the outcome, Devon. Yeah, but Rico was waiting for England, wasn't he? And then he tore his ACL. So I don't know about Rico. We go for Rico. No, Romain, I can't get the word from Jamaica. I have Jamaican citizenship. I just told you I went through the process. No, I can't get the word from Jamaica. Not anymore. Unless we don't have a quota system for naturalized citizens. So I know I kick out people who don't fit certain profile, but no, I can't get deported. Okay. Well, look, if he comes back, Travis, look, I understand those kids sometimes, Travis. They're young. He's 22 years old. So, yeah. We can't get deported from Jamaica. And when Jamaica will deport me too. So if Jamaica deport me, if they deport me to England or America, I mean, it's not the worst places to go. But no, they can't deport me anymore. Even though so he talk against people in the parliament with dual citizenship and about. I don't think it applies to the regular man on the street, which I am. So it should be good. It should be good. All right, people, we're running out of time. We have 2 minutes left. What we want to talk about before we close down the program? It's been good. Some people, hear no feedback about whether or not we need to employ some of these strategies that I suggested in the JFF. Are we going to commit to build a better relationship with the people, JFF people? We'll ask the question there. Are we going to commit to try to work with the JFF because we all want to go to the World Cup? In fact, it's not even about the World Cup, people, because we keep saying World Cup, World Cup, World Cup. We want a sustainable relationship. The World Cup is in 2 years. What happened after the World Cup? Life goes on and on. So we need to make sure, send you to Petro Key. Whatever that is. I don't even know what Petro Key is. He's just one eye in England. They even keep the eye. They can close the England eye out close for him. Even get cap for England, it's not gonna be a long cap. Me feel so. England, there's too much competition. Too much competition. But no, I do think people, we have to commit to working with the JFF. I must say this to the YouTubers too, which is our goal cannot be to just beat the JFF YouTubers. So I'm sending out a message to SOS to the YouTubers that let's try to encourage fans and also YouTubers to enhance relationship with the JFF. It doesn't mean that they can be criticized, but we should also give them flowers when they deserve their flowers. And we should also be trying to find solutions when there are problems versus just criticize. All right? That's my suggestion. Yes, we're not saying JFF shouldn't do the right thing, people. So JFF, we need commitment from you that you're going to enhance the engagement model, and we will try to do the same. That's all I'm asking for, people. That's all I'm asking for. We need to improve the engagement model with JFF and vice versa, and we both can help each other because we all have the same goal, not people. The goal is the same. It's not a different goal. So if we are working on the same goal and we're treading the same path, we can't do it going opposite direction or do it separate and distinct. We need the JFF and JFF need us. Whether we want to believe it or not. We need the JFF can run the football program. They need us because we're part of the whole construct of the football ecosystem and environment. Yeah, them still, but you know. If you weren't born in a country, I think you can. I don't think they should be. No, if you're a citizen, you should not be able to be deported. No, I don't think so. I don't buy into that, Romain. Yeah, I'm not hitting against Hutchinson actually. I wish the player the best. No pressure. I believe in that pressure. The coach should make that decision. The coach should decide. Look, if you call a player and the player said no and they want to come back, that's the coach's prerogative. Whatever the coach decide, I'm fine with it. If he said no, I don't want you, I'm fine. If he says I want you, I want you. So long as he produces outcome. Yeah, Dan. He's a baby. He's like what, 22, 21, 22. He's a kid. He's a kid. And maybe we didn't. Here's another thing, too, people. Maybe we didn't convince him to come because he come and play 2 games. That means he was interested. So maybe he wasn't impressed with what he saw. That's why he didn't come in. He got 20, even younger than I thought. I guess he left Arsenal when he was 18. So people, sometimes kids are impressionable. And his agent may be convincing him. His parents could be convincing him. And also maybe he wasn't impressed with what he saw and how things work. Because here's another thing too. The field him play upon were bad when he played with Trinidad. And when him go Mantiga bigger play, the kid probably say, you know what, me not come back here. People want to damage my career and broke up my foot with them bad feel. Yeah, he probably was discouraged actually when he came. So you know what? There's still time. Young England team is still time. I'm not gonna blame the kid. At least he experienced. So you know, maybe he did. I don't know what he did. I'm not gonna say he did that, but we never know. Yeah, he played 2 against Trinidad and 1 against Macedonia, right? So he had enough experience. Yeah, presser, but he's doing presser. Some people put in the work, but they're not good enough in the presser. That's the problem. We have presser. Don't disagree about that concept, but you could work really hard in the presser, but you're not good enough. That not gonna help either, right? If we want to get to a certain destination, we have to have the better players. Look, I said this the other day, people. We use the players as much as them use us. So if you want to see the players use if we get international cap, fine, but we use them too, because we try to go World Cup, and it gives us a better chance to win. Yeah, I know yourself. I heard about that one actually. That reporter wasn't necessarily the smartest. Some of our reporters are not necessarily the most aware people, I would say. Example, that one that was a half naked in the JFF press conference. Jeez, I still have that in my head. I don't know why. It just like, I don't know how a regular, normal person with a brain could do that. Like say somebody have a footballing brain, you don't have a reporter's brain. That made no sense to me. Somebody said, why there's so many players out there. I don't even know who Mason Clark is. I've never heard that name before. I have never heard that name before. Football girl said, I think he was booed at the statement might have affected him. Yeah. People get booed all the time. Yeah, I forget that thing, that thick skin when you play football, man. Because I'm sure you probably get, if you don't play well in England, you're going to get booed too. So, yeah. If you don't get played in England, you probably get booed too. So, yeah. Okay. It's not the worst question in the world. I don't know what the question was, but I know somebody mentioned the question that was asked about Whisper versus his own game. Or plays a Coventry. I thought we would focus on Premier League, Dan. Unless you're an exceptional player. Is he exceptional? Oh, he got some of those. I won't even post that. Big deal. That's not good. Maybe he didn't fully understand it because they weren't speaking. Well, no, you know what? If you're Jamaican also, you know all those words. Devon, what do you mean, Devon? He can't throw names if you want. Devon, what do you mean, Devon? He can throw names if you want. Come on, people. 4-3-3 is not no enemy. Someone see I've heard of Mason Clark because he's average. When I'm not beating any player, I'm no beating tonight, people. No player beaten, no fan beaten, especially no JFF beaten. No JFF beaten. And JFF, I made some suggestion. Please get back to me and tell me if you're going to think about those suggestions. And people in the chat and the people who you know, let's work as a collective to enhance the relationship with the JFF so we can produce the best football program ever. So we can be a model like a Uruguay or a Croatia. And the sponsors out there who are there also who have their qualms, you need to get over your qualms and move forward. People do not subscribe from Pressa channel. You have a different room. I'm not surprised. He's a good player. He's a good player. And he's making money already, so I'm not have to stay at Saudi Arabia. People, if I was any player in the Premier League and I'm say 24-year-old and Saudi Arabia come, I'm going there for 3 years. You make 12 times the money making in the Premier League. I'm going to come back to Premier League and play some football. 3 years for 12 years of my life. Trust me. Take the money and invest it. But some people don't think that way. They're like, I want to play football at the highest level. I agree with that. I make good money. There's good money and there's great money. 400,000 a year, 400,000 a year versus 100,000 a year. When 100,000 become 50,000 of taxes, but if 400,000 stayed 400,000, which is 8 times the money, I take the 400,000. I take the money and run. You can't come back to Premier League later. You know? Even if me at Tony, I get a 3-year contract, paying me 400,000 a year. I have gambling debts, I have to pay off. I go to Saudi Arabia. I come back to England at 32, 31, 32. You can't still come play some football. Maybe 2 more years. Be good. I'm going to go MLS go play some football. But I take the money and run. Because I'm not get the England team anyway. Because some people say, well, I played against the England team. He can go there on the bench. Well, so long as Harry Kane can walk and talk and chew gum, he's going to be starting forward for England. No Ollie Watkins, no Tony. And Kane is not that much older. He's not 5 years older than Tony. So Tony ain't getting to that team. Unless Kane fall off a cliff in terms of performance, that's not happening. So I would tell him to say, hey, take the dollars and run, Tony. Yeah, I hear everybody saying that, but I don't agree with that. People were threatening to cancel me yesterday because I had a view on something. No, on Tuesday. And I keep telling people, if you cancel me, I'm going to get my life back. So I'm not upset if you cancel me. And I said, no more Kranky. We are subscribe to your channel and cancel it. I say, you know what? I've never been so happy in my life. I can come back and get a regular life back. So if not cancel 433, maybe we can get him life back. Harry in that key. Yeah, Harry doesn't play good in tournaments. Yeah, well, Gibbs White is gone. Gibbs White is gone. So you're the cancer man, big one. I didn't let back into the EPL after going to Saudi. The English-based players go to Saudi. No, here's what people don't understand football, Guru. People don't understand football, Guru. If somebody go to the Saudi League like Anderson did for like a year or 2 years, right? They can't come back. If they want to get any tax on their money, they can't go back to the UK right away. There's a certain time period they have to be out of the country to not pay taxes on your earnings. I think it's maybe 3 weeks, if I'm not lying. I gotta go check. So if you go to Saudi Arabia, for example, and you don't get taxed on your worldwide income, because you don't, if you're US is one of the only places you can't go nowhere, I'd cut them a tax you. Anyway, if you go to Jamaica and you're a citizen and you make money, you have to pay a tax on it. Now they give you a tax credit, because if Jamaica have taxes too, them credit you against the US and you pay the high of the two. So if you go to Saudi Arabia, for example, and you're going to get taxed when you go to Saudi Arabia, you don't get taxed when you go to Saudi Arabia. Don't think the players get taxed. What happens though is that if you come back to the UK in a certain time period, you're going to get taxed on it. So what the players do, they stay out, they don't violate the timeline. So if you go to Saudi Arabia and come back right away to the UK, you're going to get taxed on some of that money. You got to stay out for a certain period of time. So you should go there, probably play in Holland for a year, play somewhere else for a year, and then go back to the UK. If you want to avoid the tax. The tax high is 45% on anything over 150. Enough money that. So think about it. If you make $1 million, they don't make $1 million. So you make $10 million. You have to pay about 4.5 if you get taxed by the UK versus you keep the $4.5 million in your pocket. A big deal that, people. I don't think people realize the numbers, People talk about this thing, a big deal that, You make $10 million in Saudi Arabia. If you don't follow the rules, you have to pay about $4.5 million in taxes. A pound, I should say. Versus you pay 0. That's a big deal. So you can't just come back to the UK and go play. It's going to pay some of the taxes on kids. People don't want to do that. So, like a Steven Gerrard, for example. But Steven Gerrard don't go back to England for more than 3 weeks in a given year. Bet he doesn't. And he's been there for a little while. He left after Emery came in. You know he getting paid. And you're making 2 or 3 times the money because you're not getting taxed on the money. You make 4. So in England, you're going to get 200,000. I said this yesterday, Tuesday. Saudi Arabia get 400,000. You keep the 400,000 versus pay 50% tax, 45% tax, and you get 110. Big difference, people. Money talk. Anyway, people, it's been a good evening. I did an impromptu show. I'm glad I did the show. My hope is that people will all walk away with the view that we're going to work to improve our engagement with the JFF. And JFF is supposed to be reciprocal. You should be doing the same thing. Right? And in full transparency, people, I did talk to 433. I did talk to 433 right after my show on Tuesday. I won't talk about what the conversation was, but we did have a conversation. I don't think you guys should unsubscribe. I don't think you guys should treat him terribly. I think he's getting the message, and everybody deserves. I forgive Greenwood, and I forgive 433 too. On the whole, I'm drop the mic now. On the whole, I'm part of one day. If not forgive Greenwood, and I forgive 433 too. See? Don't be hypocrites, people. Don't be hypocrites. And if not forgive, in a transition you have the JFF, forgive the JFF, and JFF, work with the fan base. All right, everyone. Gold Cavaliers. Yeah, I know that they were playing today. No, we're not canceling no 433. No cancel 433. No love beat too much. People, why don't you say, you know what? Let's forgive, and we may not forget, but let's forgive. Why don't you do that? Which squad he can reach? The 433 squad? I'm not called. I'm an independent. I'm like very independent. The only thing I'm not independent is when it comes to Trump and the Democratic Party, because I'm anti-Trump. I may be an independent, but I'm anti-Trump, so I can't. I'm very anti-Trump. I don't like people who don't have no morality at all and who are just about themselves. Yes, but as them say, Uno here will feel what I think he's feeling now. So I think you guys should give him a break. Stop beating him. People do not follow Sherman Scott because he's been on this trek. He's been on this crusade to cancel 433. I don't agree with him. What do you mean hypocrisy? I'm against democracy. No, I'm against tyranny. I'm against demagogues. I'm against people who don't believe in democracy. That is Trump. Poor 433. Hey, let me tell you something. You see if you don't ban me, because it'll happen eventually. You know, it's inevitable for me to get banned. When you ban me, all me I do, me still up on the channel now. I'm not coming for YouTube. I spend buy too much equipment. I'm just going to do NBA games 24/7, even though I'll probably get copyright violation. But I'm just going to do NBA games because my Knicks are do good enough. So I have no problem just do a lot of Knicks thing. Because when it comes to fall, enough Knicks thing me I do. Enough Knicks thing. Enough Bridges and Brunson and Randolph. Pure them thing. I'm not get enough views. Because I'm not giving enough views and I'm stingy with enough views. And I stay there. People, I mean, this is my last point, people. You have to learn to forgive and forget. This idea of just banning 433, I don't agree with it. I think you guys should engage 433. It's very young, and young people need guidance. We, especially the people who are more elder in the chat, you have to be an example and a guidance for the younger folks. So, and younger folks make mistakes. You know, we've been talking about for the last couple of days, they make mistakes. They sometimes need to be guided, and just guide them. All right, just guide them. No. Yeah, look. I had a frank conversation with Pressa. That's all I say. And sometimes when you're young and you're trying to get views, you may do some things which may not work out too well, right? Hey, Jeremy, I know, I've heard this, but sometimes you get kicked in the teeth, and then you say, you know what? I've learned my lesson. So I'm gonna give him a cooling off period. If I'm gonna subscribe, I'm gonna go subscribe later on. Give him a cooling off period. Let's say if what he learned is more long term and sustainable. All right. I don't think you guys should ban it. I don't think that's right. I don't agree with Amen. And some people carry feelings in the Amen. I think I agree with you. Amen. I don't think I agree with you. Amen. Going to say be forgiven after Mason arrives. I tell you, it get worse then. You think you'll be forgiven? It gets worse. People like him, they want him comes. Him can't say nothing. Especially if him all scored. No, so. I don't think so. I agree with Presser for once. I don't think people are gonna forget. They're gonna keep it over his head. And you know we like beating us, so because you like beat, then him just set himself up to get beaten. Man's a leader of the cancer church for 2 years. No, I think 2 years is too long. I think you should give him a 3-month cooling off period and then resubscribe to his channel. Because the kid is smart and the kid has content. And sometimes he may be very controversial, but he does have some facts to back up his position. So you should give him a break. But anyway, I run past my time, people, and it's over 2 hours. It's 2.5 hours. Why time flies when you're having fun. So let me just say before I say good night, a couple of things. One is, thanks for being here. I appreciate you being here. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. And for me to grow this channel, I can't grow this channel without you guys, and ladies. Because when I say the guys, it's a general term, but let me be careful and be politically correct. If you tell one person to subscribe, then that double who's in the chat today. So we have 94 people. That's 188 or something like that, right? If you tell one person subscribe to your channel, you double the number to them get enough subscriptions. So may I look for that tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm supposed to say about 100 new people are subscribed. Because each of you going to tell one person to subscribe, and if them subscribe, my numbers and go up, people. May I grow too slow, I tell you the truth. I think about change my dialogue, because if I do NBA TV, NBA stuff, I don't get much reviews. I don't have to improve the view thing, people. I'm not giving encouragement. I don't look like I cancer me like I'm not cancer 433. I'm not getting encouragement from them. We have to spread the word about the channel. People can come watch the channel or subscribe to the channel, people. All right? But I'll sign up by saying that I enjoy you being here. Thanks for being here. I'll be back on Monday. Same time, same place, new information. And by then we should know, we'll talk about the team. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Police FC, Trinidad football team mash up, so Trinidad football is to the dogs nowadays, people. Down to the dogs. And then it gives a fast sense of accomplishment. We do that, It's part of my concern too. I don't really think about the Caribbean anymore from a competition standpoint. I think Dominican Republic will get good. I think Haiti, even with them problems, to go decent. And I think Cuba will improve over time, even though they lack resources. We have to focus on Costa Rica, the regular thing: Panama, Costa Rica, US, Mexico, Honduras, Guatemala. That's where our focus should be. So anyway, people. Oh, somebody's sick. Why is somebody sick? Did he convince me to sign a petition? See, you guys are watching my show and listen to me. Didn't I just make the case for and against Mason Greenwood? Right? Because I was trying to be very objective and for people to view it from two different angles so you can appreciate somebody who may not be supportive. Come on, people. I don't know if we got Ravila. I don't know if we have Ravila. Right? I hope we do. I hope he's playing some football. I know he was supposed to be with a League One side, but who knows about Ravel? Ravel is just Ravel. Different. But that makes them four call. Before the game said the score is 1-1. I didn't know Police scored. But if Police get enough, we're not really surprised. If Police get enough, we're not surprised. We're not surprised. Because before the game, we can't have Trinidad. Big deal. What are you talking about? sign. Me done sign. Me left corporate long time. Me done sign. Me not sign nothing no more. No. Unless me buy a house, me not sign nothing. Me done sign. Let's not sign bill no more. Because when you're retired, you don't have to worry about no bill collector. Just close your eyes like you don't see. Most people are interested in a Ravel, you know. Until Ravel start playing for them and then they can't take the headache. I hate to say that, people, but that's true. Who signed it? Ravel is special, Claudine. But Claudine, once we agree on something, Claudine, for once since we've been on this channel, we agree on something. Okay, big deal. I have no comment on that. Zero comment on that. Yeah, that's the view that Lambekiza is going out alone, yeah. Yes, big deal. Somebody asked that question. Big deal. Somebody say undercover signer, big deal. Huh? Big deal. Somebody say undercover signer. Say that's how you know about all of this. Persis, the Cavaliers are poor marketing. That's why Police FC score. Wow. Devon. That's an extreme, Devon. So Devon, you can Devon. Hey, see, you're not a hypocrite, people. Some of you call me a hypocrite now, right? See, you're not a hypocrite. Yeah. Then somebody come out and said Jamaica can't do nothing for them, and then bash the JFF. I don't know why the person apologize. I write no letter, but not ask for you to do that. Me not understand the people. Me not understand no hypocrite man. I'm done with the hypocrite thing, star. I'm done with the hypocrite thing. I'm done with the hypocrite thing. That's not good. That is not good, people. Yeah, big deal. Me not put up the name there. Me not know what them people there. I don't know what those people, big deal. But all right, everyone. It is late. It is almost something to 9. It's time for me to sign off. As I said before, I appreciate you being here. I'll be back on Monday. I may do a show this weekend. In fact, no, I will do a watch along this weekend, actually. I will do a watch along. Not sure which game yet. I probably will try to do the Arsenal game, but I may do another game. I think the Arsenal game is like 7:30 in the morning, isn't it? So I probably will do the Arsenal game. Yeah, press. I mean, we can't ask Fortune apologize, and we not ask other people to apologize. And then this is a whole country. So no can't do nothing for him. But I love a big deal. I said, I love one a big deal because you man want me on Tuesday, you know. I love one people about certain things, you know. I love the warning thing. I don't know why. I love one people, so. I don't want too much, man. Then people take in Jamaica and take we want Jamaica and take it personal, you know. So the Police goal scorer is 30 years old. It's a big deal. A Robbie, you know. Same about woman I play against Cavaliers, young boy, and they can't manage him. That's a big deal. Big, you know, before the game is saying the person who scored for Police against Cavaliers is 38 years old. So even a man in a wheelchair can't score against Cavaliers. Why? Before the game, Rob saying, you know, and I bash Trinidad and Robertine deeper and just turn the knife on her. 38-year-old scoring against kids, but they're kids before the game. Because pure kids Cavaliers have pure kids. All right, people. Let me play my Kranky live and drive out. Let me say buenas noches. I was gonna say hasta mañana, but I'm not come back tomorrow. So hasta luego, I'll say. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining. Have a good evening. Hit the like button before you go out. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Tell your friends and family to subscribe. And I appreciate you. Have a good night. Peace out. Kranky life is the best to be now. For the best sports talk and it's free, yo. Kranky life will be your guiding light by keeping you informed both day and night. Kranky life, tell them. Kranky life, heed them. Kranky life, want them. Kranky life. From the courts to the field, we'll never lose because Kranky has the hottest news. With expert analysis, we break it down. Our in-depth coverage is best in town. Kranky life, tell them. Kranky life, heed them. Kranky life, warn them. Kranky life. Kranky life where the sports is spicy and where we keep the discussion lively. Kranky life, get to know the name because Kranky analysis is never lame. Kranky life, give me my Kranky life. I want my Kranky life. Must have my Kranky life. Whether it's football or track and field, you know Kranky is at the wheel. So join the journey through victory and defeat and subscribe and don't miss a beat of Kranky life. Tell them, Kranky life. Heed them, Kranky life. Warn them, Kranky life. If you're from England or USA, from Kingston or Bombay, from Kenya or Canada, Lagos or Havana, visit Kranky Live. Tune into Kranky Live. Like up Kranky Live. Subscribe to Kranky Live. Kranky Live coming to you on weekdays. Kranky Live sometimes on Sundays. Pull up a chair and take a seat because Kranky will always bring the heat. Kranky Live. Me say fi tell them Kranky life. Me say fi heed them Kranky life. On them Kranky life. Kranky life will be around. Kranky life is the best in town. Me say fi heed them. Me say fi want them. Me say fi heed them. Want them, heed them, want them. Kranky life. Kranky life. Heed them. Want them. Heed them. Want them, Kranky life, Kranky life. Heed them, want them, heed them, want them, heed them, want them. Kranky life, Kranky life, Kranky. Heed them, want them, heed them, want them, heed, want, heed them.